Chapter 920. Shi Shang and Grand Tutor Qi were happily eating melon seeds, and the male and female lead's performance was also very good. Yan Jinxiu insisted that she didn't know who did it. Red Lady didn't want to ruin her reputation, and Juxian Lu wouldn't allow such a thing to happen. Duanmu Qi wanted to seek justice for Yan Jinxiu, so he would investigate this matter. At that time, there were people from Juxian Lu waiting in the changing room. As long as they interrogated carefully, it wouldn't be difficult to find out who did it. A good flower appreciation banquet turned into a joint investigation. One by one, the servants were interrogated, and in the end, they locked onto 3 girls. 2 of them were the group of girls who invited Yan Jinxiu, and one of them was Miss Lin. It was reasonable to say that Miss Lin was the most suspicious because she was eliminated by Yan Jinxiu. However, Miss Lin was with her people at that time, and she met another girl on the way back, so she didn't go to the changing room. As for why Miss Lin went to the back, only she knew. In the end, only the 2 girls were left as suspects. Under Duanmu Qi's interrogation, one of the girls couldn't help but betray the other. After that, both sides shirked their responsibilities, and in the end, they dragged the other 2 girls down. People's hearts are not what they used to be. Grand Tutor Qi shook his head and sighed. If it weren't for the fact that he was still munching on melon seeds, he would have looked like a well-respected elder. Shi Shang looked at Duanmu Qi punishing those people, and said faintly, "For selfish desires, there's nothing that people don't dare to do." "Your Highness, you see clearly," Grand Tutor Qi praised. Shi Shang smiled but didn't say anything. He wasn't bragging, but he had seen more people than he had eaten. Red Lady glanced sideways, as if she was sizing up Shi Shang and Grand Tutor Qi. When Shi Shang looked over, Red Lady immediately turned her gaze and looked at Duanmu Qi as if nothing had happened. This matter wasn't big, but it wasn't small either. They were all daughters of officials, and if they wanted to escalate it, it could make the 2 families fight. Duanmu Qi couldn't casually punish them, so he could only ask for Yan Jinxiu's opinion. Because there were so many people, Yan Jinxiu couldn't punish them too harshly. She could only sullenly let them apologize. Originally, by taking revenge herself, she could let them know the consequences of offending her. Now that the 3 parties had interfered and caused the situation to become like this, Yan Jinxiu's good impression of Duanmu Qi that had just risen instantly fell to 0. The flower-admiring banquet could not be held any longer. Everyone went back to their own homes and looked for their mothers. "Farewell, Your Highness." Shi Shang's identity was the most honorable, so he naturally went first. When he arrived at the edge of the deck, the boat was already prepared. Just as Shi Shang stepped on the wooden ladder connecting the 2 boats, a black shadow suddenly rushed out of the water. The wooden ladder was kicked away and Shi Shang was almost dragged into the water. At the same time, a group of black-clothed men rushed out from all around the pleasure boat. The sound of water splashing could be heard, and a sense of crisis was pressing in. The black-clothed men landed on the pleasure boat and attacked Shi Shang without a word. Naturally, Shi Shang was attacked as well. Shi Shang was speechless. How did he get shot even when he was lying down? Where is I's sword? Shi Shang took out his iron sword and blocked the attack of the black-clothed man. He scolded angrily, "What's wrong with you? Kill whoever you want. Why are you attacking I?" These people were definitely not targeting her. After all, she had not offended anyone and was not the next crown prince. The men in black were speechless. Who let you stand so close to them? If they didn't attack you, who would they attack? The men in black saw that Shi Shang did not have much intention to fight, so they decisively gave up on her and ran into the pleasure boat. Shi Shang directly jumped into the empty boat below. "How do I row the boat? It seems like I need to use a paddle. Where is the paddle?" Shi Shang looked around the boat but did not see anything similar to a paddle. "Damn! Does I have to row with my hands?" "Your Highness." Grand Tutor Qi stood at the edge and waved at Shi Shang. "Jump." Grand Tutor Qi looked down. The distance was a little high. His legs trembled. "Your Highness." Just when Grand Tutor Qi was hesitating, a person bumped into him from behind and directly knocked him down. With a splash, he fell into the water. Shi Shang was speechless. What a retarded Grand Tutor Qi. Shi Shang picked up Grand Tutor Qi. Grand Tutor Qi's whole body was soaked and his old face was pale. He was scared to death. Do you know how to row the boat? Shi Shang stopped beside Grand Tutor Qi and asked him calmly. Grand Tutor Qi's brain was probably flooded with water. He was a little confused. After a while, he sat up while trembling. Yes. Your Highness, where is the paddle? Grand Tutor Qi looked around but could not find the paddle. He could only ask Shi Shang. How would I know? Shi Shang rolled his eyes. When she came down, there was no paddle. Grand Tutor Qi was speechless. Then how to row the boat? Just when the two of them were staring at each other, another person jumped into the boat. The boat swayed from side to side and Grand Tutor Qi almost fell into the boat. Go! Red Lady, who was at the bow of the boat, shouted at Shi Shang. Shi Shang and Grand Tutor Qi both looked at her in silence. If it wasn't for the fierce fighting above, Red Lady would have thought that she was not running for her life but was enjoying the scenery instead. This old man and this young woman were too calm. Grand Tutor Qi coughed. There is no paddle. Red Lady was speechless. Red Lady used her internal energy to send the boat to the shore. Just then, the Imperial Guards arrived and surrounded Shi Shang and Grand Tutor Qi. Red Lady took the opportunity to leave and disappeared in the blink of an eye. Your Highness, please punish this subordinate for being late to the rescue. Shi Shang glared at the Imperial Guards. Who told you that I was here? The Imperial Guards glanced at Grand Tutor Qi. The wet Grand Tutor Qi immediately received Shi Shang's cold gaze. He shivered. Ouch. Grand Tutor Qi closed his eyes and fell to the side of the Imperial Guards who happened to catch him. Grand Tutor Qi, you even know how to pretend to faint. Shi Shang waved his hand with black lines on his forehead. Send Grand Tutor Qi back. Yes. After sending Grand Tutor Qi away, the Imperial Guards nervously looked at Shi Shang. Your Highness, it's dangerous here. Your Highness, please leave. You're not going to help. Normally, shouldn't these people go and help? The Imperial Guards said in a serious tone, We are only responsible for protecting Your Highness. Your Highness, please leave. Let's watch the show. She didn't want to leave. If she left, there would be no show to watch. Bring me a chair. Imperial Guards. Shi Shang didn't want to leave. The Imperial Guards had no choice but to bring her a chair according to her order and surrounded her with 3 layers of people. When the city guards arrived, they saw a large group of Imperial Guards standing on the shore and watching the show. The city guards were responsible for the security of the capital. The Imperial Guards were responsible for the security of the Imperial Palace. The 2 armies had nothing to do with each other. Therefore, when the Imperial Guards stood here and watched the show, they couldn't say anything. Little Fairy. I'm here to watch the show. Give me money. Cherub. I'm so cute. Can I eat and dash? Little Fairy. I'm so cute. Can I not update? Cherub. System. A stack of tickets was thrown at her face. Little Fairy. Come, hit me. I have nothing to fear. Cherub. System. Chapter 921. When the men in black realized that the situation was not right, they immediately retreated. The men in black who were forced to stay committed suicide without hesitation. Yan Jinxiu was a little injured. It was not too serious, but it was not light either. It was very good to hide the fact that she knew martial arts. Yan Jinxiu was carried ashore by Duanmu Qi. When they passed by Shi Shang, Duanmu Qi glanced at her coldly. Shi Shang gritted his teeth. Was the male lead's brain sick? She didn't do anything. What did he mean by acting like she was the one who ordered him to do it? You beat him up. Will he not bear a grudge? Idiot host. What did you say? Nothing. The battery ran out. Go offline. Your Highness. Shi Shang just said that sentence directly. The Imperial Guards asked in confusion. Shi Shang cursed the ancestors of the system in his heart and said without changing his expression, "It's okay." A group of frightened young masters and young ladies went ashore with weak hands and legs. When they saw Shi Shang sitting on the shore leisurely, many of them were dissatisfied. The imperial guards came so early, but she didn't let them save them. The next day, Shi Shang was impeached. As the eldest princess, she didn't care about her subjects. This gave the emperor a headache. It's fine if you do it secretly, but you also swaggered around. Isn't this asking for trouble? Just when the emperor didn't know what to do, Grand Tutor Qi, who hadn't been to court for a long time, suddenly stood up and said that he was willing to teach the eldest princess. This gave the emperor a way out. The emperor immediately agreed. So, Shi Shang didn't know that he had one more grand tutor. If you have something to report, please report. If not, the court is dismissed. The eunuch's sharp voice spread throughout the throne room. Your Majesty. Song Hang, the minister of the Ministry of Revenue, stood up. What do you plan to do with those things last time? The people in the throne room, who were still a little uninterested, immediately became spirited when they heard Song Hang's words. Song Hang was talking about the gold, silver, and jewelry that inexplicably appeared in their backyard. At this time, those things had been sent to the national treasury. But because the origin was unknown, they only did an inventory and didn't make any plans. The emperor was silent for a moment. Since we didn't find anything, we will confiscate them and put them in the national treasury. Yes. Song Hang heaved a sigh of relief. But before he could relax, someone had already set their sights on this batch of gold, silver, and jewelry. Your Majesty, recently, our Ministry of War needs to change weapons. Lord Song has been holding us back, saying that the treasury is empty. But now, Lord Song can't refuse. The Ministry of War needs to change weapons to protect the country. What do you think, Your Majesty? The person who spoke was the Minister of War, Duan Feng. Duan Feng had been angry before. Why did so many things not appear in his backyard, but in the backyard of his sworn enemy, Song Hang? Who knew if he had hidden them? At this moment, no matter what, he had to carve out a piece of meat from him. Sir Duan, how many months has it been since your Ministry of War last changed weapons? The two countries aren't at war right now, so how could it be consumed so quickly? Song Hang retorted loudly. Duan Feng sneered, how much did Lord Song approve last time? How can there be enough to replace so many soldiers in the Ministry of War? Lord Duan has used various reasons to ask for money from the Ministry of Revenue. Isn't that enough? Lord Song, what is the meaning of this? Are you saying that I'm embezzling? I, Duan Feng, am loyal to His Majesty. How could I do such a thing? Lord Song, don't slander me. You know very well whether Lord Duan did it or not. You. The two of them quarreled directly in the court. The emperor had been silent, and no one knew what he was thinking. Just as the two of them were quarreling fiercely, a little eunuch hurried in from the side door. Your Majesty, the Prime Minister is back. This sentence was not loud, but the noisy throne room instantly quieted down. Yen Mansion. Yen Jinxiu was lying on the bed, and a person dressed as a maid was kneeling beside the bed. Miss, we have the whereabouts of the gold. Yen Jinxiu glanced sideways, her pale face full of coldness. Where is it? The maid was silent for a moment, then spat out two words. The treasury. Yen Jinxiu's pupils shrank. Is the news confirmed? It's absolutely true. Today, the Minister of War and the Minister of Revenue quarreled over this. Cough, cough, cough. Yen Jinxiu suddenly coughed, and her face became even paler. The maid quickly got up to help Yen Jinxiu breathe. Miss, I suspect that there is a traitor, the maid said in a low voice. Miss had given this matter to her to handle. She had only told the few people she trusted the most, but when her people went, it had already been emptied. Yen Jinxiu coughed for a while, then took a deep breath. Impossible. There are so many things. The news was leaked from here, and those things were moved away. It would not be so fast. Then what does Miss think? That day, The people who went down the cliff included the imperial guards who were looking for Duanmu Zhongning, and Yen Jinxiu paused. Duanmu Qi. Miss Suspects Jun Wang Yi? The maid was shocked. His appearance is too coincidental, and that place is very close to the cave. Yen Jinxiu calmly analyzed. Have you found Duanmu Qi's secret forces? The maid shook her head. Jun Wang Ye's people are all normal. He did not contact anyone. From returning to the capital until now, we have investigated all the people he has contacted. There is nothing unusual. Continue to investigate. Yes. The maid replied respectfully. She glanced at Yen Jinxiu and said carefully, Miss, do you really think it is Jun Wang Yi? Yen Jinxiu touched the wound on her arm and lowered her eyes. He is the most suspicious. It is always good to investigate clearly. This subordinate understands. When Yen Jinxiu suspected Duanmu Qi did not know at all. At this time, his mind was filled with the sword in Shishang's hand. However, no matter how his men investigated, there was no news at all. No one in the palace had seen Princess Royal use this sword. Prince, could it be that Princess Royal got it from the bottom of the cliff? The steward raised his own opinion. Since Princess Royal did not have it before, she had it after coming back. The only explanation was that she got it from the bottom of the cliff. It was such a high mountain, but Princess Royal was fine after falling down. No matter how one looked at it, it was strange. Duanmu Qi thought of how Shishang suddenly knew martial arts. It was really possible that she got something good from the bottom of the cliff. Keep an eye on her. Yes. The steward replied. He hesitated for a moment. Prince, I have something to report to you. Duanmu Qi picked up the tea beside him and took a sip. Speak. Miss Yan's people have been investigating us recently. Do we need to do anything? Duanmu Qi had instructed not to do anything to Yen Jinxiu, so the steward asked alone. Duanmu Qi pondered for a moment. Don't expose the important things. Let her investigate the rest. He wanted to see how much that woman could find out. She was clearly a little wild cat with sharp claws, but she had to pretend to be a harmless little sheep. Wasn't this more interesting? Asterisk cherub who do not have enough fans. Please follow Weibo, Little Fairy Shishang. Chapter 922. Shishang looked at the old man in disdain. What are you doing here? Grand Tutor Qi smiled kindly. Your Highness, from today onwards, I will continue to teach you. Shishang was speechless. Which idiot was up to no good again? What was the meaning of this old man's visit? Shishang only heard about what had happened in the imperial court later on. If it weren't for Grand Tutor Qi's age, Shishang would probably have thrown him out. Grand Tutor Qi taught seriously. Although Grand Tutor Qi was a little naggy, he wasn't a stubborn old man. Apart from teaching Shishang etiquette, he was more lenient on everything else. Your Highness, do you still have the melon seeds from last time? Grand Tutor Qi asked secretly after class. Shishang was speechless. You're here just to eat melon seeds? Although Grand Tutor Qi didn't want to admit it, it was the truth. He was here for the melon seeds. Otherwise, at his age, why would he come here to teach the princess instead of enjoying his life at home? Wouldn't that be crazy? Grand Tutor Qi, how about I make a deal with you? Shishang smiled at Grand Tutor Qi. Grand Tutor Qi immediately expressed his stance. Your Highness, I won't agree if your request is too much. He was a principled Grand Tutor. Do I look like the kind of person who makes unreasonable requests? Shishang glared at him. Grand Tutor Qi was speechless. Very much so. The eldest princess used to be such a cute little girl. He didn't know how she had become like this after just a few years. Sometimes she looked harmless, but sometimes she was full of evil aura, as if she could take your life at any time. He had been a Grand Tutor for so many years and had taught many princes and princesses. He knew that these children who grew up in the palace had two sides, one in front of others, and another behind others. He could understand that this was forced by their environment. However, this eldest princess gave him a very strange feeling. Grand Tutor Chi, do you still want to eat melon seeds? Grand Tutor Chi thought for a moment and said very sensibly, Your Highness, please speak. Bending over for melon seeds. Don't appear in my bright peace palace and I'll provide you with melon seeds. How about it? This. Grand Tutor Chi was a little hesitant. He had made an agreement with His Majesty. However, when he thought about the attitude of this student in class, Grand Tutor Chi felt that even if he really came every day, it wouldn't be very effective. All right. Shi Shang's eyes curved into crescents as he stuffed a large bag of melon seeds for Grand Tutor Chi. Since Grand Tutor Chi refused to give Shi Shang lessons, he naturally had to report this to the emperor. Grand Tutor Chi told the emperor that he was powerless and couldn't withstand the torment of young people. Unknowingly, he had dug a hole for the Shi Shang. The emperor gave Shi Shang a good scolding and even threatened to marry her off. She was almost 17 now. In modern times, she was still underage. But here, she was an old lady. No one wanted her. Although the emperor did not force her, he was still anxious in his heart. Shi Shang, who had been scolded badly, came out of Yongxin Palace Hall and scratched his head in frustration. She hadn't even found her Feng Ci yet, so how was she going to get married? Hidden quest. Tie the knot, Shi Shang. Feng Ci is online? It would come as she wished. How could she predict it? Why did he remind me so early this time? There was a ghost. Who was the ultimate villain in this novel again? Oh, right. The Prime Minister of Jin Country, Lien Chen. A treacherous official. The Lien family was famous for being a family of treacherous officials. His father was a treacherous official who robbed the people of their wealth. He was so evil that he oozed pus. In the end, he died at the hands of a woman. His father's father was also a treacherous official. He took bribes and bent the law. In the end, he also died at the hands of a woman. Lien Chen was already the third generation of treacherous officials. They had heard of honorable titles being passed down to their descendants, but they had never heard of the title of treacherous official being passed down generation after generation. What would they say to their descendants in the future? Would they say that their ancestors were all treacherous officials and that if they couldn't become a treacherous official, they would be a disgrace to their family? Thinking about that scene, it was simply too beautiful. If they monopolized the market, what would those who wanted to become a treacherous official think? Would they still be happy to be a treacherous official? The people of the Lien family were so smart that it made people's hair stand on end. Countless people wanted to catch them, but they couldn't. Everyone knew that they were treacherous officials, but they couldn't produce any evidence and couldn't do anything to them. It was so frustrating. Lien Chen's father and grandfather were a bit greedy and scoundrels. However, when it came to national affairs, they handled them very well. They could be considered patriotic. They were the kind of people who were loved and hated at the same time. As for Lien Chen, this person was also very patriotic. Damn, he wanted to usurp the throne. That wasn't patriotic. Okay, back to the topic. System, tell me, why did you remind me so early this time? Wasn't it good to remind you early? What do you want? Was it easy? It was wrong not to remind you, and it was wrong to remind you. Host, if you're so hard to please, why don't you go to heaven? This system quit. Marry Lien Chen and change the ending. After saying this, the system went offline and shut down. Shi Shang. Oh, this retarded system's temper was getting worse. Shi Shang slowly walked down the steps. The first hurdle wasn't whether Lien Chen would marry her or not, but whether her cheap father would agree to it. Would you be willing to marry the apple of your eye to a treacherous official? A treacherous official who wanted to usurp the throne. What was Lien Chen's ending? Shi Shang rummaged through her mind. As the biggest villain, Lien Chen fought with the female protagonist until the end. In the end, he died in the hands of a woman. 3 generations of treacherous officials ended here. The Lien family definitely had a grudge against women. Shi Shang looked around but didn't see anyone. Based on system's annoying nature, The person who reminded her was definitely around here. Go back to the palace first. Shi Sheng wanted to send Xiao Xian away. Your Highness? Where do you want to go? Xiao Xian was worried. I'll go with you. Shi Sheng said angrily, how can I get lost in the palace? You won't get lost, but you can run away. Xiao Xian still remembered the previous 2 lessons clearly. Your Highness, I'll just follow you from afar. Shi Sheng glared at Xiao Xian. Believe it or not, I'll beat you. Your Highness, even if you beat me, I'll still follow you. If she lost him again, she would lose her life. Shi Sheng was helpless. If she wanted to follow him, then so be it. She could get rid of him halfway anyway. Shi Sheng looked around and chose to walk in the direction of the imperial garden. When he ran into a group of palace maids and eunuchs who were delivering food to the emperor, he took the opportunity to get rid of them. After getting rid of the palace maids and eunuchs, Shi Sheng walked around the imperial garden according to the original owner's memory. The imperial garden was quite big. There were all kinds of flowers in it. Some could be named, some could not be named. They were all connected together and decorated the imperial garden with beautiful purples and reds. When he came to a rockery, Shi Sheng heard a slight sound coming from there. There was a small path leading to the back of the rockery. Shi Sheng slowly approached and the view blocked by the rockery became clearer and clearer. After turning a corner, there was a touch of beautiful color in front of her eyes. Then she saw a gorgeous man. Votes. Votes. Monthly votes. Monthly votes. Chapter 923. Gorgeous was not the right word to describe this man, but Shi Sheng felt that it was the most appropriate word to describe him. He was wearing a gorgeous robe embroidered with koi carps playing with lotuses and peach blossoms. His wide sleeves and the hem of his robe reached the ground. He held a folding fan in his hand, the handle of which was made of blood-red jade. The other end of the fan was holding the chin of a shy palace made with peach blossoms on her face. Shi Sheng was speechless. Oh my God, what was he trying to do? Why did he feel like he was catching them in the act? Shi Sheng was considering whether he should go out and catch them in the act when the man suddenly moved. He pulled out a dagger from nowhere and pressed it against the palace maid's neck. Blood splashed out and the man dodged to the side. The palace maid did not seem to have expected this outcome. Her eyes widened and she looked at the man in disbelief. She took a few breaths of air with difficulty and found that it did not work. The disbelief in her eyes turned into horror. She reached out and grabbed the man's robe. Her chest rose and fell. Her fingers became weaker and weaker and she slowly fell to the ground. Blood fell onto the gravel and soaked into the ground. Have you seen enough? The man's voice had a beautiful ending tone, which made people's hearts go numb. Of course, if there was not a corpse in front of him. Shi Sheng clutched his chest. This was the first time he met this idiot, and he had seen him kill someone. If he wanted to kill someone to silence them, should he defend himself or run away? Or should he just sleep with him? Lien Chen slowly turned his head and his eyes fell on where Shi Sheng was standing. His face was also exceptionally gorgeous, with a kind of aggressive beauty. Standing in front of him would make people feel ashamed and unable to show their faces. Especially those peach blossom eyes, which were like a pool of spring water that made people want to immerse themselves in them. There was a cold aura around him, which did not make people feel that he was gentle. Instead, there was a kind of alienated nobility and indifference. He was like a work of art that had been carefully carved by a sculptor and placed on a display table. He did not need any words to make him the most eye-catching and dazzling. Your Highness the eldest princess? Lien Chen looked at her clearly and asked in a questioning tone. Why did you kill her? Shi Sheng gestured at the corpse on the ground with his chin. You didn't do it well. Blood is all over the place. Lien Chen suddenly didn't know what kind of expression he should use to face this eldest princess. Her performance was completely different from what he had expected. She didn't scream in panic, nor did she loudly question him. She just calmly asked him why he wanted to kill her and commented on the way he killed her. Lien Chen was silent for a while. His peach blossom eyes had an obscure luster. This humble subject didn't know that your highness could learn killing techniques. Shi Sheng grinned. This guy's pretty smart, huh? He got suspicious so quickly. Do you need me to teach you? Lien Chen's doubts were blocked by this sentence. He looked at Shi Sheng strangely again. The eldest princess he knew was an arrogant, despotic, and willful little girl. But the girl in front of him, it was not the kind of arrogance that was ostentatious and flashy. It was the kind of arrogance that came from the depths of her bones. This eldest princess gave him a very strange feeling. It was very faint, and before he could catch it, it had disappeared. It is this humble subject's honor to be taught by your highness. Lien Chen restrained the obscurity in his eyes and said in a flirtatious tone. To be honest, Shi Sheng couldn't see through him. He wasn't like the Feng Ci she had met before. She could tell what kind of person they were and what kind of personality they had with a single glance. Lien Chen gave her a very vague feeling. It was as if he was covered in a thin layer of gauze. That gauze wrapped around him and prevented anyone from seeing through him. Your movements are too slow and you don't have enough strength. That's why the blood splashed out. Just kill a few more to practice. Oh. Of course, you have to change to a sharper dagger. Hearing Shi Sheng talk about killing techniques in such a serious manner, Lien Chen really didn't know how to react. He stood there and listened to the girl's soft voice. Can you imagine a beautiful girl asking you to kill a few more to practice? Your Highness, aren't you going to ask this humble subject why I killed her? Lien Chen interrupted Shi Sheng. Shi Sheng paused and tilted his head to look at him. His eyes were calm as he asked very sensibly, Why? Because I wanted to kill her, so I killed her. When Lien Chen said this, his eyes were fixed on Shi Sheng, as if he wanted to find something from his brows. However, he was disappointed. Shi Sheng's expression didn't change. He just kicked the palace maid. People with impure motives should be killed. His foot landed on the palace maid's waist. With a clang, a dagger fell out. There was also a strangely shaped jade pendant on the palace maid's waist. How could a palace maid carry a jade pendant on her, let alone a dagger that fell out of her waist? Lien Chen looked at Shi Sheng with a questioning gaze. When he said that, he was very calm. Do you need me to help you deal with the body? Shi Sheng turned his head and asked seriously. He was very good at disposing of bodies. Then I'll have to trouble your highness. Lien Chen smiled faintly. The light in his eyes became even darker. Shi Sheng couldn't figure out what he was thinking. This idiot is so difficult to deal with. He's too guarded. System, aren't you going to give me technical support? At least give me the newbie gift bag. #host is still brooding over the newbie gift bag. Shi Sheng didn't reply. He propped his chin up and thought for a moment. You didn't bow to me just now. You thought for so long, and this is all you said? He gathered his robe, clenched his fists, and bowed. This humble subject pays his respects to your highness, Princess Royal. You can leave. Shi Sheng suddenly waved his hand with an unfriendly expression. She was afraid that she would do this idiot on the spot. Lien Chen was stunned again. He was obviously confused by Shi Sheng's brainless behavior. He looked at Shi Sheng with interest, bowed again, and then dragged his luxurious robe out of the rockery. When he passed by Shi Sheng, he smelled the pleasant fragrance of a girl on her body. It was a very refreshing smell. She tilted her head, looking at something. Under the light, her fair neck was like a piece of beautiful jade that emitted a lustrous halo. Her long and dense eyelashes fluttered. She suddenly turned her head and met Lien Chen's gaze. She pulled the corners of her mouth and revealed a nasty smile. Prime Minister Lien, are you waiting for me to call someone to arrest you? This humble subject is curious. Why would your highness? Lien Chen tried hard to find a word in his mind. Help this humble subject? In Jin Nation, he reckoned that everyone wanted him dead. Probably because you're good-looking. Shi Sheng answered casually. Lien Chen. He glanced at the corpse on the ground, turned around and walked out of the rockery. There was already someone waiting outside. When he saw him, he immediately came up to him. "Sir, do you need me to deal with this?" "No need. Go and check on the Princess Royal." That person was puzzled. Sir and the Princess Royal didn't have much interaction. Why would he check on her for no reason? Lien Chen added, "Investigate everything, no matter how big or small. #hashtag today, I'm looking for ocean-flavored tickets #hashtag I'm just asking if you have all the blessings. Anyway, I have all the blessings. Ha 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 hashtag. Chapter 924. Shi Shang came out from behind the rockery and bumped into Xiao Xian and the others who were rushing over. "Your Highness." Xiao Xian saw Shi Shang and felt relieved. Luckily, His Highness didn't sneak out of the palace. Shi Shang brushed his skirt and said calmly, "There's a corpse over there. Take care of it." Xiao Xian was confused. "Ha! What corpse? How long had she been separated from His Highness? How could there be a corpse?" "Your Highness, what did you do behind my back?" Xiao Xian asked someone to take a look at the place Shi Shang pointed. Sure enough, a corpse was dragged out. The wound on the neck was still bleeding and dripping onto the ground, staining the ground red. "Your Highness, this?" Xiao Xian was still calm when she saw the corpse. It was normal for people to die in the palace. It was common for palace masters to kill palace maids and eunuchs. But the way this palace maid died, I don't know who killed her. Shi Shang lied through his teeth. "She died when I came." Xiao Xian. "Your Highness, can't you hide your expression when you're lying? Your expression clearly shows that you know." Xiao Xian looked at the corpse and then glanced at Shi Shang. She ordered the people behind her, "Take care of it. Do it cleanly." His Highness didn't say how he died. If they didn't clean it up and someone saw it, it would cause unnecessary trouble. Lien Manor. Study. Lien Chen held a folding fan and waved it. The handle of the folding fan was made of blood-red jade, but the surface of the fan was black. As it waved, there was a faint blood-red light flashing. Beside him, someone was reporting something, but Lien Chen's expression was indifferent. His eyes were lowered, and it was unknown if he was listening. The eldest princess is very strict in the palace. The servants outside don't know much. Her personal servants are very tight-lipped and can't get anything out of them. But the eldest princess has changed recently, starting from when she came back from Shangqing Temple. I also heard that the eldest princess has a sword. Duanmu Qi is investigating this sword. Lien Chen's hand paused and the fan stopped waving. The pure black surface of the fan was dotted with blood-red marks. It looked very strange. Sword. Lien Chen's eyebrows raised slightly. His gorgeous face seemed to be able to steal people's souls. The subordinate handed over a picture. It was Shi Shang's iron sword. Lien Chen pressed the folding fan against the surface of the drawing and slowly slid down. The blade of the sword was revealed bit by bit. This sword, what did Duanmu Qi find out? No. The subordinate shook his head. No one has seen this sword before. I took the initiative to look into it, but there was no news. Duanmu Qi definitely had a motive for spending so much effort to investigate this sword. The space was silent. After a long time, Lien Chen said slowly, "You may leave." "Young master?" The subordinate was puzzled. Was he not going to investigate anymore? Lien Chen tugged at the corners of his mouth and smiled. There seemed to be countless flowers blooming in his eyes, making his face even more gorgeous. Since the person above had protected her so well, he wouldn't be able to find out much. He had a feeling that his interaction with the eldest princess had just begun. In the end, Yan Jinxiu's matter still spread in the circle. Even if it was only a little bit at the flower-admiring banquet, it was enough to make people talk about it. In this era, other than the hands and face, if a woman's other parts were exposed, it would be considered unchaste and impure. This kind of verbal rumor was not easy to investigate. Even if Yan Jinxiu was angry, she couldn't do anything about it. She could only endure it and secretly teach those who talked too much. Shi Sheng only heard a few words about this. She was busy persuading that cheap father emperor to let her move out of the palace. If she moved out of the palace, not only would it be inconvenient to work in the palace and watch the show, she would also miss a lot of good shows. More importantly, she would have less contact with Lien Chen. There was no shortcut this time. She could only start with Lien Chen. As long as Lien Chen agreed to marry her, she would go and talk to her cheap father emperor. Both sides would put pressure on each other and play a bit of bitterness. Her cheap father emperor might even agree. If she ran now and asked her cheap father emperor to decree her to marry Lien Chen, her cheap father emperor would definitely chop her with a knife. And, most importantly, she felt that Lien Chen wouldn't marry her so easily, so her cheap father emperor's opinion wasn't important. What was important was that idiot Lien Chen. After coaxing and pestering for a few days, Shi Sheng finally got the approval. Since the emperor favored her so much, the princess mansion naturally had to be rebuilt. But this was not the cultivation world. It could be done in minutes. It would take a long time for such a mansion to be built. Shi Sheng chose an empty mansion near the Lien residence. All she had to do was get someone to renovate it. This mansion has been empty for many years. Why did they suddenly start to renovate it? Most of the people nearby have moved out. I don't know who was so stupid to come here. The onlookers all looked at the opposite side in fear. That was the territory of the Lien mansion. Shi Sheng chose a mansion diagonally opposite the Lien mansion. She could see the gate of the Prime Minister's mansion when she went out of the main entrance. It wouldn't take long to renovate the mansion. When the mansion was finished, Shi Sheng refused to let the emperor send a large group of people to see her off. But for auspicious reasons, he still made a simple ceremony. Your Highness, this is a gift from the Lien mansion. Xiao Xian walked up to Shi Sheng with a long brocade box in her hands. She had a strange expression on her face. Why would Prime Minister Lien give Your Highness a gift for no reason? Prime Minister Lien and the princess didn't have much interaction. We'll be neighbors in the future. Of course we have to build a good relationship. Shi Sheng took the brocade box and looked at it. It was a landscape painting signed by Lien Chen. Shi Sheng, that's quite frugal. Stingy. Your Highness, why did you choose this mansion? The Lien mansion. It wasn't a good place. Shi Sheng glanced at Xiao Xian. Xiao Xian immediately lowered her head and didn't say anything else. Her Highness's aura was getting stronger and stronger. Just one look and one movement was enough to make people afraid. Shi Sheng had no idea what Xiao Xian was thinking. She glanced at the landscape painting. She had never been interested in such elegant things, so she asked Xiao Xian to put it away. Xiao Xian was about to take it away when Shi Sheng stopped her. Hang it up in the study. Xiao Xian looked at Shi Sheng in confusion. Her lips moved, but she didn't say anything. She curtsied and turned to leave. Shi Sheng had already moved in for a month. During this time, she hadn't left the house. There were too many people following her around in this world. She couldn't even turn them down. Every time she left the house, it was like going to war. Shi Sheng was tired of staying in the mansion for so long. He was ready to go out for some fresh air. With a circle of servants, he swaggered out of the front door. Because she wanted to take a walk, she didn't ask anyone to prepare a carriage. Just as he walked down the steps, he saw Lien Chen leisurely walk out of the residence, dragging his beautiful peach-colored robe. He was waving a black folding fan in his hand. He raised his eyes slightly and happened to see the young girl surrounded by servants. She seemed to have just stood there. Her skirt was still swaying, and her eyes were as bright as stars, reflecting his gorgeous figure. Asterisk a new week, please vote, don't hesitate to send me to the rankings. Chapter 925. Lien Chen changed direction and walked towards Shi Sheng, a faint smile on his lips. This humble subject greets Your Highness. For a man to wear clothes of this color without showing any femininity, it was *king enough. Prime Minister Lien, remember to salute me this time. Shi Sheng raised his hand. It's my duty. Shi Sheng raised his eyebrows. I've done you such a big favor. Shouldn't you treat me to a meal to express your gratitude? It's my honor. Lien Chen suddenly smiled a little dazzlingly. What would you like to eat, Your Highness? Shi Sheng turned to ask Xiaoxian, where's the most expensive meal in the capital? The corners of Lien Chen's mouth twitched. Golden Jade Tower. Xiaoxian answered without hesitation. Lien Chen's expression didn't change. He was about to reply when a certain princess said, then let's go to Juxian restaurant. Didn't she ask about Golden Jade Tower? Why did she go to Juxian restaurant? Lien Chen was obviously not used to her incoherent way of speaking. After a while, he said, you need to make a reservation in advance at Juxian restaurant. I'm afraid there are no seats available now. Ha! Shi Sheng looked arrogant and said arrogantly, I'm the eldest princess. Even if there are no seats available, you have to make room for me. Don't you think so, Prime Minister? This bastard actually told her that there were no seats available. If you stood there, who would dare to sit? Did he really think that his title as a treacherous minister was just for show? Lien Chen. He shouldn't have come just now. Shi Sheng brought Lien Chen to Juxian restaurant aggressively. They didn't look like they were here to eat, but to confiscate property. The manager of Juxian restaurant was so scared that he trembled as he greeted them. This manager wasn't the one he saw before. Shi Sheng was wearing casual clothes, so he probably didn't recognize him. Shi Sheng didn't recognize him, but Lien Chen did. In the capital, other than Lien Chen, which man would wear peach-colored clothes? Greetings, Prime Minister. This commoner didn't go out to meet you. Please forgive me. Prepare a private room. Lien Chen spoke slowly, and there was a hint of enchanting in his voice, which made people feel comfortable listening to him. Of course, that was if that person wasn't afraid. For example, the calm and composed Shi Sheng. Yes, I'll go prepare it right away. Prime Minister, please come in. The shopkeeper immediately invited them in. The people in the gathering Immortal Tower all lowered their heads, not daring to look in this direction. The entire hall was silent and oppressive. Prime Minister Lien is so mighty. Shi Sheng's voice suddenly rang out. Everyone around was shocked. Who was this little girl who wasn't afraid of death? She actually dared to talk about Lien Chen like that. She didn't want to live anymore. However, there was no enraged scene as they had imagined. The handsome man whom they feared smiled faintly. This humble subject also does not understand why they are so afraid of such a handsome and dashing person like me. Shi Sheng gave Lien Chen a strange look. Was this guy narcissistic? The first time they met, she felt that Lien Chen was a person she couldn't understand at all. Because of this, she liked to think about Lien Chen when she had nothing to do. Now, it wasn't like he couldn't understand him at all. He was very polite and always had a faint smile at the corner of his mouth, making people feel that he was harmless. However, when he was talking and laughing, he might give you a fatal blow. For example, that little palace maid. This setting was perfect because he had a face that could turn people upside down. Handsome was omnipotent. But, where did this narcissistic attribute come from? The crowd couldn't understand Lien Chen's narcissism at all. They only heard him call himself a humble subject. There weren't many people who could make a country's prime minister call himself a humble subject. Other than the ones on the dragon throne, there were only a few princes. However, this was a little girl, so, this was the eldest princess, Princess Chongning. What the people thought was naturally not within the scope of these two people's consideration. They calmly occupied a private room that had just been requisitioned. The gathering Immortal Tower was built on the shore of New Moon Lake. When they opened the window, they could see the rippling waves of the lake and several beautifully decorated pleasure boats floating on it. Your Highness, you came here just to see the lake? Lien Chen saw Shi Sheng standing by the window for a long time and couldn't help but ask. Shi Sheng couldn't see through him. Naturally, he couldn't see through Shi Sheng either. Shi Sheng turned around and sat back in his chair. His face was full of sincerity. I came here to be alone with Prime Minister Lien. Alone with this humble subject? Lien Chen skillfully poured a cup of tea and handed it to Shi Sheng. Your Highness, please don't make fun of this humble subject. Shi Sheng held the tea and took a small sip. It was a little hot, so she put it down again. This princess is very pleased with Prime Minister Lien's beauty. Lien Chen's hand paused and the tea splashed onto the table. A second later, he continued to pour tea. Thank you for your praise, Your Highness. Fuck. This idiot is not easy to flirt with at all. Shi Sheng didn't say anything else. Instead, he picked up his chopsticks and began to eat. Shi Sheng didn't eat very fast. His posture was elegant and noble. Watching him eat was a pleasing scene. She didn't eat much. When she was about 60% full, she put down her chopsticks. As soon as she put down her chopsticks, Lien Chen also put down his bowl. The moment he put down his bowl, the girl opposite him said, "Prime Minister Lien, do you have a wife or concubine?" Lien Chen didn't have a wife, but whether he had a concubine to warm his bed was unknown. This humble subject has no wife or concubine. Lien Chen's heart was a little broken. He felt that it was easier to deal with those old foxes in the imperial court than with this eldest princess. He had no idea what she would say next. Shi Sheng's eyes curved. Very good. If he had a wife or concubine, she would probably kill him again. She would directly meet him in the next world. Lien Chen. Why did he feel that the girl opposite him smiled so sinisterly just now? What did it have to do with her whether he had a wife or concubine? After eating, Shi Sheng and Lien Chen left Jushin restaurant. The people downstairs were respectful and fearful. Lien Chen alone was quite scary, and now the eldest princess was involved. What did it mean that the eldest princess was with Lien Chen? After leaving Jushin restaurant, they had to walk around New Moon Lake for a distance before returning to the main street. Lien Chen was 2 steps behind Shi Sheng and followed Shi Sheng silently with his head down. His peach-red robe brushed past the peony flowers beside him, knocking down the petals that were about to wither. Shi Sheng looked sideways at him, and Lien Chen looked up at the same time. At that moment, Shi Sheng saw a flash of vigilance in his eyes. But in the blink of an eye, it was covered by the gorgeous color. Shi Sheng paused, turned around, and faced Lien Chen. Are you afraid of me? Your Highness is the eldest princess. This humble subject should be afraid. Lien Chen's answer was still watertight, and his expression was just right. Shi Sheng leaned forward slightly, closing the distance between them. She spat out a clear word from her mouth. Liar. This humble subject doesn't dare. Lien Chen took a few steps back and lowered his head. His black hair fell to his chest and fluttered in the breeze. White jade, which family's man, back to Tianjin by carriage. Looking at the east of Mo, it alarmed the people of Luoyang. Asterisk the poem was written by Li Bai, Luoyang Mo. Chapter 926. Compared to Ming Jin, she liked Lien Chen more. Although he was guarded against her, he didn't try to hide it. He wasn't like that idiot Ming Jin. Just thinking about it made her angry. Your Highness, Lien Chen reminded her. Shi Sheng gathered her scattered thoughts and stared at Lien Chen with a smile. Prime Minister Lien, you don't have to be so guarded against me. I won't do anything to you. Of course, you won't believe me, but that's fine. One day, you'll believe me. Lien Chen was stunned, his heart filled with confusion. What did she want? She helped him deal with the corpse in the palace, and now she was saying this. Shi Sheng's gaze suddenly landed on the pleasure boat in the distance. The boat was surrounded by gauze, but the wind on the lake blew the gauze, allowing her to see the scene inside the boat. Yan Jinxiu, she had just gotten into trouble here last time, but she still dared to go to the lake. As expected of the female lead, her guts were quite big. Just as Shi Sheng was complaining, an accident happened. Someone suddenly started fighting on the boat. The boat swayed more and more, tilting to one side and capsizing. 2 figures rushed out of the pleasure boat and began to fight on the surface of the lake. At that moment, A few more people broke out of the water and came forward to help. This world full of assassins was a mystical one. The assassin profession had a lot of potential. Should she go and open an assassin organization? The officials promised that all 5 licenses were complete. That was good. She didn't understand why these people liked to hide in the water. Couldn't they just blow up the boat? Why did they have to do it themselves? What a joke. The fight was fierce. Lien Chen observed Shi Shang from the side for a moment. This eldest princess was very different from before. Facing this kind of situation, she was too calm. It wasn't an act. There was no emotion in her eyes, as if it was all a show. He sensed danger from her. Your Highness. He really couldn't understand this eldest princess. It was best if he didn't interact with her in the future. It's dangerous here. This humble subject will send your Highness back home. She was going back just like that? The show wasn't over yet. Wait a moment. Lien Chen followed her gaze and looked at the lake. That person from the Yen family. He had heard that this person had taken a liking to Duanmu Qi in the past, but recently, Duanmu Qi and Yen Jinxiu had gotten closer. Did she stay because of this? Lien Chen felt a little uncomfortable, but he didn't know why. If your Highness likes it, you can have His Majesty issue an edict. Junwang, you will not dare to disobey an edict. Lien Junwang's deep voice was slightly muffled by the distant sounds of fighting. Shi Shang glanced at her with a cold look on his face. What did you say? Lien Chen respectfully repeated, if your Highness likes it, you can have His Majesty issue an edict. Junwang, ye wouldn't dare to disobey. Just as he finished speaking, he heard the girl opposite him snicker. Under the flickering light, a clear fragrance wafted over. Prime Minister Lien, is that really what you think? Her voice was cold for no reason, but it was also extremely calm, without any ripples. This retard actually dared to ask her to marry. Pui, marry someone else? Lien Chen frowned slightly. A thought flashed through his mind, but he couldn't catch it. What was he trying to test? Answer my question. Is that really what you think? Every word seemed to have smashed into his heart, causing him to tremble. Lien Chen took a deep breath and suppressed his irritation. Your Highness, this humble official has overstepped the rules. Shi Shang reached out and twirled a strand of hair in front of his chest. His voice was cold. Think carefully before you speak next time. Lien Chen's lowered gaze happened to land on the back of Shi Shang's white hand. He could clearly see the meridians under the skin. He closed his eyes and said slowly, this humble official understands. Shi Shang let go of that strand of hair and turned to look at the lake again. The fighting on the lake was nearing its end. Yen Jinxiu stood on the overturned pleasure boat, dripping wet. Duanmu Qi finished off the last person. He tapped lightly on the lake with the tip of his foot and swept across the water. He hugged Yen Jinxiu and brought her from the lake to the shore. The two of them landed right where Shi Shang was. Duanmu Qi raised his head and met Shi Shang's calm eyes. His heart jumped. Why did he meet her again? His gaze turned and fell on the pink figure, and his heart began to beat wildly. Lien Chen. Why was he with this woman? Yen Jinxiu's face was pale. Her gaze quickly swept over Lien Chen. She wanted to bow to Shi Shang, but Duanmu Qi held her up and prevented her from bowing. Junwang Yi is in such a good mood. Shi Shang spoke first. Playing such an exciting game on the lake with a beauty. It was hard to tell whether his tone was mocking or mocking. In any case, it was not pleasant to hear. Princess, there's no need to be sarcastic. Duanmu Qi's expression was ugly. He was even more suspicious. Why was it so coincidental every time? Duanmu Qi suddenly believed the steward's words. There was nothing that a woman who hated because of love wouldn't do. I already said it. What can you do to me? Shi Shang arrogantly raised his brows. He looked as if he wanted to be slapped to death. This was definitely a provocation. Duanmu Qi's gaze swept over Lien Chen, who had his head lowered. He laughed coldly. Princess, don't play with fire. No matter the reason, getting involved with Lien Chen would not end well in the end. Shi Shang could obviously tell what he was implying. He retorted without holding back, "Jun Wang Yi, don't ask for trouble." Shi Shang suddenly called out sarcastically. He also dodged to the side. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. A few small arrows shot out from the side of the flower bush. By the time Duanmu Qi realized it, it was already over. An arrow hit his back. Duanmu Qi staggered. His gaze suddenly became fierce. He turned around and jumped into the bush. He raised his sword and blood splattered onto the red peonies, making them even more beautiful. Duanmu Qi killed the person who ambushed him. He spat out a mouthful of blood. His knees went weak and he knelt on one knee. "Jun Wang Yi!" Yan Jinxiu exclaimed and quickly went to support him. "Jun Wang Yi, it looks like you didn't kill everyone just now." Shi Shang continued to make sarcastic remarks. When the protagonist killed someone, there would always be a few fish that escaped the net. When the antagonist killed someone, the protagonist would always escape the net. It was simply poisonous. Cough cough. The arrow was probably poisonous. Duanmu Qi's face was already green. He could not reply to Shi Shang's words. Duanmu Qi's people just happened to arrive at this time. They quickly took Duanmu Qi away. Before Yan Jinxiu left, her gaze swept over Lien Chen and Shi Shang. Damn, the retarded female lead wanted to cause trouble again. Shi Shang tilted his head and walked over to Lien Chen. Prime Minister Lien's fan is quite sturdy. Lien Chen stood in the same spot. The fan in his hand was already open, exposing the black surface of the fan to the air. A hidden arrow lay quietly by his feet. It was pricked by a hidden arrow, but there was not even a mark. Lien Chen closed the fan with a swish. "Your Highness is too kind. It's just to save my life." Shi Shang smiled at Lien Chen. "Prime Minister Lien, why don't you give it to me?" Chapter 927. Lien Chen looked up at Shi Shang. She looked serious and didn't seem to be joking. "I'm sorry, Your Highness, but I can't give this to anyone." Shi Shang smiled. "Is it because you can't give it to anyone, or you can't give it to me?" Lien Chen. Was there a difference? Since Lien Chen didn't answer, Shi Shang didn't ask further. "Let's go back." She had plenty of time. They still had plenty of time. When Shi Shang came out, he forced Xiaoxian and the others to stay. So when she went back, Xiaoxian immediately surrounded her with people and looked her up and down. After making sure that she was fine, she heaved a sigh of relief. Her Highness actually went out to eat with the Prime Minister alone. By the time Shi Shang squeezed her way through the crowd, she could only see the peach-red dress disappearing into the door on the other side. The vermilion door slowly closed. "Your Highness, let's go in." "Your Highness, you can't do this again. If His Majesty knows that you went out alone with the Prime Minister, he will definitely be angry." What was Prime Minister Lien? A treacherous official. The entire Jin state knew that he was a treacherous official. Even His Majesty couldn't do anything to him. Who knew what would happen when Her Highness interacted with Prime Minister Lien? Xiaoxian wished that she could tell Shi Shang about the 10 most evil things that Lien Chen had done. After all, the plot was just a summary. The original owner's impression of Lien Chen was only that he was better looking than her. She didn't like him. It was such a superficial thought. Lien Chen's father passed away when he was 15 years old. At that time, Lien Chen was only 15 years old and there was turmoil in the imperial court. Under such circumstances, Lien Chen propped up the Lien family and climbed to the position of prime minister step by step. The most memorable thing was the Ziwu Gate incident and the Lu family's rebellion case. No one knew what happened at the Ziwu Gate incident. They only knew that Lien Chen killed a lot of imperial guards there. It was exaggerated to say that blood flowed like a river and bones were piled up like mountains. But in the end, the emperor just suppressed this matter and didn't have the slightest intention to punish Lien Chen. Instead, he promoted Lien Chen to an official position. Yes, it was after the Ziwu Gate incident that Lien Chen became the prime minister. As for the Liu family's rebellion case, Madame Liu was a meritorious official and had always held an important position in the imperial court. However, a young master of Liu Enterprises called him a sissy in front of Lien Chen and insulted him verbally. The next day, the Liu family was accused of treason and their entire family was executed overnight. This happened very quickly. Before many people could react, the people from Liu Enterprises were already gone. The case of the Liu family's rebellion caused a stir in the city. Lien Chen was impeached by countless ministers, saying that he defied the law and mobilized the imperial guards without authorization. That's right, this guy had brought the imperial guards with him when he raided the house. Because there was indeed evidence found in the Liu family, in the end, the emperor only punished him for the crime of using the imperial guards without authorization. In the end, he was still the prime minister. Your Highness, Prime Minister Lien is very scary. Don't get too close to him in the future. After Xiao Xian explained, she reminded the Shi Shang worriedly. There are no women in his mansion? Shi Shang obviously did not hear him. No. Although the Lien family is. Xiao Xian paused. They never mess around with women. The previous two, both died in. Xiao Xian did not continue. His Highness should have heard these rumors. Shi Shang's eyes turned. I'm going to the palace. His Highness was so quick to change his mind. Your Highness, I'll prepare a sedan chair for you. No need. You stay in the mansion. Shi Shang waved his hand and rushed out of the mansion, which had not yet been closed, in the direction of the palace. Your Highness. Xiao Xian chased after him and shouted to the others behind her, Hey! Go and call for help. His Highness did not like to take anyone with him wherever he went. It was fine if nothing happened. If something happened, what would they do? Shi Shang's speed was too fast for the others to follow. By the time they chased after him, he was already long gone. When Shi Shang entered the palace, the emperor had just finished talking with the ministers. He leaned against the dragon chair and rested tiredly. A little palace maid stood behind him and massaged his shoulders. Greetings, Imperial Father. Shi Shang casually curtsied. The emperor raised his hand and the palace maid immediately retreated. Why did Chongning enter the palace? Did someone bully you? No. Shi Shang shook his head. Who dares to bully me? She was the only one who bullied others. No one had the guts to bully her. Are you used to living outside? If not, you'd better come back to the palace. The emperor shook his head helplessly and said with concern. Shi Shang restrained himself and answered obediently, Pretty good. You're grown up now. Imperial Father can't control you. But Chongning, shouldn't you prepare for your marriage? The emperor was very worried. His daughter was already 17 years old. If he waited any longer, how could she get married? Didn't you say you liked the Junwang? Do you want Imperial Father to give you an edict? Although he did not like Duanmu Qi very much, if his daughter really liked him, then he could only accept it. Shi Shang. She touched on his sore spot. Duanmu Qi was the male lead. How could a cannon fodder like her casually covet him? She didn't want to court death. Shi Shang lowered his head. Imperial Father, I don't like the Junwang. Oh. The emperor was surprised. He had heard that his daughter wouldn't let go of the Junwang. But thinking that she had beaten Duanmu Qi before, it didn't seem strange. It was good that she didn't like Duanmu Qi. He didn't like him very much. For one thing, he didn't have the blood of the Duanmu family in his body. For another, he was an outsider. Since you don't like the Junwang, then which family's young master do you like? Tell me, Imperial Father will give you some advice. Imperial Father, do you really want to know? I'm afraid you'll cry if I tell you. The emperor's eyes brightened. Really? Ha ha ha, tell me. Let Imperial Father see which family's young master is so capable that I, Chongning, like him. Under the emperor's expectant gaze, Shi Shang said calmly, I like Lien Chen. Who? He didn't seem to hear it clearly. Was he old? Lien Chen. Shi Shang repeated word by word. Prime Minister Lien. The Emperor. He didn't hear it wrong. The Emperor's expression was very interesting. After a while, he asked uncertainly, Chongning, did you say it wrong? Imperial Father, how could I say anything wrong about the person I like? Accept reality. This Bao Bao has taken a fancy to your treacherous minister. No. I don't agree. The Emperor slammed the table and stood up. His face was serious. You can choose any of the princes in the capital. Even Lien Chen is not allowed. His voice was so loud that Shi Shang's eardrums were numb. She knew it would be like this. Asterisk, there should be a group name here. The Emperor, as a father, why don't I even have a name? Mubai, I don't have a name many times. What is your world? Shi Shang, everything without a name is ugly. Mubai, where's this gentleman's knife? System, why are you looking for a knife? Can you beat her? Mubai, suicide. System, the Emperor. System owner, Xu Fei, little fairy, what the hell is this? You came in without paying the fee. Vote before you speak. Chapter 928. After roaring, the Emperor reasoned with Shi Shang, Chongning, Lien Chen is not someone you can control. He is not a good match. There are many good men in the capital. You should choose a better one. Who could be better than Lien Chen? In terms of power, Lien Chen was second only to the Emperor. In terms of beauty, he crushed all the creatures in the capital. Most importantly, no matter how good those men were, they were not the ones she was looking for. She even despised them as vases. But I have my eyes on him. The Emperor was so angry that he almost couldn't breathe. What do you like about him? I've taken a fancy to everything. You. The Emperor was trembling with anger. He pointed his finger in the air. I won't agree. You can choose a prince consort yourself, or I will choose one for you. The Emperor was so angry that he even used me. I choose Lien Chen. Accept him. The Emperor added angrily. Shi Shang took a step back. I don't choose him as my prince consort. I choose him as my grand tutor. This was her ultimate goal. If she really wanted to be with Lien Chen, how could this cheap imperial father stop her with just a few words? The Emperor widened his eyes. Grand tutor? Let Lien Chen, a treacherous official, be her grand tutor? Why would he teach her? To rebel? Or was this just a way to get close to Lien Chen? Before the Emperor asked, Shi Shang directly gave a choice. Anyway, if you don't want him to be my grand tutor, you can let him be my prince consort. No. Then I'll leave the palace. Do you want to piss me off? The Emperor was so angry that he pounded the table. The Emperor didn't agree no matter what. Shi Shang just did it. He didn't go back home that night. The Emperor was so anxious when he heard this. He sent the imperial guards to look for him everywhere in the capital. In the Lien mansion, Lien Chen was standing in front of the desk in his underclothes. There was a piece of rice paper in front of him. As he waved the brush in his hand, the ink spread and a landscape painting gradually became clear. Knock, knock, knock. Someone knocked on the door. Lien Chen didn't respond. He was carefully drawing the outline of the mountains. When the last stroke was finished, he slightly raised his head. Come in. Creak. The person walked to the desk and said respectfully, Young master, the eldest princess is missing. Lien Chen put down the brush and his eyes flashed. Lost? How did you lose it? I heard that the eldest princess and His Majesty had a quarrel in the imperial study. After she came out, she disappeared. Right now, all the imperial guards and imperial guards in the capital are looking for her. They should be reaching our residence soon. The imperial guards searched house by house, and the Prime Minister's residence was naturally within the scope of their search. What is it? I don't know. At that time, only His Majesty and the eldest princess were in the imperial study. They could arrange for people to be by the Emperor's side, but this kind of conversation where there were only 2 people left was not that easy to find out. Lien Chen picked up the handkerchief on the table and wiped his fingertips that were not stained with ink. Then, he picked up the folding fan beside him and said, "Let's go take a look." There were already servants waiting outside. When Lien Chen went out, someone handed him a coat. As soon as Lien Chen walked to the gate, the imperial guards also arrived. Prime Minister. The man in the lead jumped down from his horse, cupped his hands and bowed. Lord Duan. Lien Chen nodded slightly, and his soft voice spread in the night. "Why are you visiting so late at night?" Duan Feng cursed in his heart. He clearly knew everything, but he still asked. Suppressing the dissatisfaction in his heart, he said, "Her Royal Highness the eldest princess is missing. His Majesty sent us to look for her. I wonder if the Prime Minister has seen Her Royal Highness the eldest princess? These princesses and princes, when something happens, they cause a storm in the city. Aren't they the unlucky ones?" Duan Feng's heart was very unfair. "No." Lien Chen turned sideways. "Does Lord Duan want to go in and search?" Duan Feng looked at the Prime Minister's residence behind Lien Chen and thought for a moment. "Sorry, go in and search." "Young master?" If the young master didn't let them in, how would these people dare to barge in? Lien Chen lowered his head, blocking the expression on his face. The person who spoke knew his young master's decision, so he shut his mouth and didn't say anything more. Duan Feng didn't search for long. Soon, he came out with his men and half-heartedly cupped his hands. "Sorry to disturb you, Prime Minister. Goodbye. Go ahead and search." Duan Feng didn't wait for Lien Chen to speak and directly led his men to the residence in front. "Young master, this Duan Feng is getting more and more arrogant." Lien Chen lowered his head and played with the folding fan in his hand. He gently opened it and slowly closed it. "Duan Feng's life won't be long." Duan Feng turned the entire capital upside down, but he couldn't find the Shisheng. At this time, the culprit was tied up and sent to a ship. Don't ask why she was tied up. Can she say that the plot and luck, those 2 little bitches, teamed up to cause trouble? When a person is unlucky, cold water will be stuck in their teeth, let alone a plot who always wants to kill her. The plot only loves her biological daughter, the female lead. The cannon fodder has to come out and be abused, adding oil and vinegar to the main character to increase the pleasure. Flip the table. Abuse your uncle. I just want to pick up a man. What kind of outrageous things have I done? Before, she was just watching the show and provoked a bit. Why was she the unlucky one? This baby doesn't accept it. The host is sick and needs to take medicine. Stop acting and quickly pull out your sword and chop these little bitches to death. Wait. I'm a righteous system. Why would I have such a terrible idea? Master, come online quickly. I might have been brainwashed by the host. Shisheng could definitely save himself, but she had to see which idiot dared to kidnap her. If she didn't sacrifice herself to the sword, I would feel sorry for the humiliation I endured and was brought here by these idiots. Shisheng was thrown into a place that looked like a warehouse and was still tied up. When those people left, Shisheng quickly untied himself and stretched his numb muscles and bones. He leaned on the small window and looked outside. There was a yellow river outside. He was actually tied up on the river. Thinking about it, Jean's state was not near the sea. If he was really tied up on the sea, it would be a supernatural event. Shisheng tried to pull the door, but it was locked. There were sounds of people moving outside. Someone should be watching. Shisheng took out his iron sword and swung it at the door in the air. Then, he slashed the door, which wasn't very sturdy to begin with, into 2 halves. While the people outside were still in a daze, Shisheng dashed out, killed the 2 people, and threw their bodies into the river. After looking around, Shisheng walked toward the deck. The boat was quite big. He met a few people on the way, but they were all easily killed by Shisheng and thrown into the river to feed the fish. Ouch. Ouch, I can't take it anymore. It hurts. Sure. Keep it down. Do you want the people outside to hear you? When he passed by a room, there was a soft sound from inside. Shisheng paused and turned to look at the room next to him. The door was also locked. Sher Shang looked around and found a window, but it was a little high. Sher Shang stepped on the pile of debris below and leaned on the window to look inside. #hashtag today's red envelope flavored tickets #hashtag new week's red envelope flavored tickets, recommendation tickets, monthly tickets. Don't be a coward. #new year is coming. Are you sure you don't want to post a long comment in the last few days? Hashtag. Chapter 929. Fate was a magical thing. But Sher Shang didn't believe in fate at all. She only knew that the plotline wanted to kill her. Why was the female lead inside Flip's table? Shouldn't she be lovey-dovey with the male lead, cultivating their relationship, and then making babies? What was the meaning of being kidnapped and brought here? Aren't you tired of the hero saving the damsel in distress? Even if you're not tired of it, I'm tired of it. Learn from I. When did you need your man to save you? Sher Shang felt that she should write a book. The title of the book could be, The Female Lead Saved by the Male Lead. Your man didn't even want to save you at all. The system's complaints were scolded by Sher Shang. The system felt wronged. Was it wrong to speak the truth? Your man didn't come to save you, and you're angry that the female lead was saved by someone else. What a psychopath. My host might be a psychopath. What should I do? Waiting online, urgent Yen Jinxiu sensed that there was someone by the window. She looked up and met a familiar pair of eyes. She froze for a moment, then realized who was outside. She didn't know why she called out, Princess Royal. Her call attracted the attention of others. Before they looked over, Sher Shang jumped out of the window. I'm not going to be the female lead's scapegoat. The window returned to its original appearance, as if nothing had happened. Was there someone outside just now? A girl beside Yen Jinxiu asked. Yen Jinxiu wasn't sure if she was hallucinating. The person outside the window disappeared too quickly. Did someone come to save us? Yen Jinxiu looked at the people around her and said calmly, Untie her first. Yes, yes. Quick, help me. Sher Shang left the room and went straight to the deck. Who's there? A loud shout exploded. Sher Shang looked up and saw a burly man standing on the second floor behind her, glaring at Sher Shang fiercely. After a while, he yelled at the people below, What's wrong with you guys? She's already out here. Two burly men immediately came out of the cabin. They were dressed in the same clothes, so they were probably thugs. Why did she run out? Where are the people guarding her? The man on top was still questioning. Before the two men could reply, Sher Shang said faintly, They jumped into the river. The men jump into the river? Why would he jump into the river? What are you doing? Grab her and see what's going on. After the big man upstairs finished shouting, he also went around to the side and came down the stairs. Two big men immediately stepped forward to catch Sher Shang. If you have something to say, let's talk nicely. What kind of man are you if you touch me? Sher Shang stepped back. Don't come any closer. If you come any closer, I won't be polite anymore. The men. Is there something wrong with this lady's brain? They looked at each other and sped up toward Sher Shang. Sher Shang's eyes turned cold. He turned his wrist and the iron sword suddenly appeared. Roar! Ah! The burly man who hadn't reached the bottom heard the screams and sped up. When he saw the two people lying on the deck, he couldn't help but twitch. What happened when he came down the stairs? I warned you not to come over. Did you think I was joking? Idiots! Sher Shang looked at the burly man. Do you want to die too? The burly man. He had never seen such an arrogant person. Guards! The burly man shouted as he retreated. Sher Shang raised his hand and threw the iron sword over. It hit the burly man right in the chest. His body twitched and slowly fell to the deck. The people who came out saw the burly man fall to the ground. There was a moment of silence. Then the man standing at the front waved his hand. Go! Sher Shang narrowed his eyes. There were always people who wanted to die. Damn it, idiots. There were quite a lot of people on the boat. There were about 50 to 60 people in total. Shi Shang threw most of them into the river, leaving only a few people behind. She tied everyone up on the deck. As soon as she tied them up, Yan Jinxiu rushed to the deck with a few girls. Shi Shang tilted her head and glanced at her. The calmness and indifference in her eyes made Yan Jinxiu freeze. It was really her. Why was she here? Yan Jinxiu took a deep breath and stepped forward. Princess Royal, why are you here? She sounded like she was questioning her. It's none of your business. Shi Shang's face was full of arrogance. Yan Jinxiu didn't know what to say. She didn't know how to respond. Shi Shang looked at Yan Jinxiu with evil intentions. What were the chances of her killing Yan Jinxiu here? Just as Shi Shang was thinking, Yan Jinxiu took out a signal flare from her sleeve and shot it into the air. Shi Shang. Damn, why was the female lead so fast? Didn't they say that the female lead would delay the plot? I was fooled by the novel again. Not long after Yan Jinxiu shot the signal flare, a boat slowly sailed over from the river in the distance. The flag of the yamen was hanging on the boat. The female lead was actually here to be a spy. Damn it! What kind of plot was this? Didn't they say that she was weak? You're not pretending anymore? The people from the yamen didn't expect Shi Shang to be on the boat. When they saw her, they were so scared that their legs turned to jelly and they directly knelt on the ground. Greetings, Princess Royal. Why is this person here? What are you doing? These people came prepared and the female lead was a spy. What was going on? The people kneeling in front of her looked at each other and one of them told her what had happened. They were arresting a group of human traffickers. Yan Jinxiu had infiltrated this group and acted as their spy. Their plan was to wait for this group of people to arrive at their destination, find their base, and then capture them. However, Shi Shang intercepted them halfway. Your Highness, why are you here alone? Shi Shang's face was full of disdain. I was caught. Do you think I can come up here to enjoy the scenery? These people are so bold. The person was furious. Don't worry, Your Highness. I will definitely find out the mastermind. Your Highness? Where is Your Highness? The person next to him pointed into the distance. Shi Shang walked over to the people who were tied up. He looked around and picked up a man. He had a kind face and looked like a strange uncle who was trying to kidnap a little girl. Come, tell me. Who told you to kidnap me? But his voice was not kind at all. It was especially eerie. Kill me or torture me. Do as you please. The man spat. Shi Shang raised his eyebrows and seemed surprised. Oh, you have a backbone. Humph. Shi Shang's eyes curved and he used his sword to loosen the ropes. You can go now. Everyone. What was this woman trying to do? The soldiers. What was the princess doing? Everyone was dumbfounded. When they came to their senses, the kidnappers immediately got up and jumped into the river. They would be fools if they didn't run. Your Highness. How could they let these people go? Princess Royal, you can't let them go. Yan Jinxiu also stood up and said righteously, they are the scum of the underworld. You are letting the tiger return to the mountain. Shi Shang glanced at Yan Jinxiu indifferently. It's not up to you to tell me what to do. He didn't really understand what was going on in the minds of those girls who said they were gay. Chapter 930. Yan Jinxiu frowned. Her eyes were full of dissatisfaction with Shi Shang. At this time, she was still so willful and reckless. She did not have the self-awareness of a princess of Jin state at all. Shi Shang's calm gaze swept over the others. Stop talking nonsense. I was the one who caught him. I can let him go if I want to. If you have the ability, go catch him yourself. Everyone. This arrogance had no bounds. They had never seen such a scammer. Didn't Jin state belong to the Duanmu family? Shi Shang looked at the man who was beginning to panic again. The corners of his mouth curved into an evil smile. "Now, can you tell me who ordered you to kidnap me?" There were so many people just now. If they were going to die, they would die together. The man could still accept it. But now that those people had been released, the balance in the man's heart was broken. He did not want to die. "If I tell you, will you let me go?" The man looked at Shi Shang. "It depends on my mood." The man's expression changed slightly. "Then why should I tell you? Did it mean that she would not let him go?" Shi Shang supported the ground with the iron sword and said casually, "If you don't tell me, you will definitely die." "How do you want to die? Do you want to die horizontally or vertically? Or be cut into 8 pieces? Be dismembered by 5 horses?" Hearing Shi Shang's words, the man's face turned from green to white. She was a girl. How could she say such torture without batting an eyelid? The man's heart was a little broken. Why was he the one who was caught and not the others? Not only did the man break down, but the soldiers behind him also broke down. This princess was too cruel. She even described death by 1,000 cuts. She described it so vividly, as if she had really done it herself. "Choose one." Shi Shang poked the man with the sword. The cold air on the iron sword made the man's tense nerves collapse. He shouted, "I'll tell you." Shi Shang put the iron sword back on the ground. An invisible wind flowed out from the bottom of the iron sword and spread in all directions. "I don't know who he is. We get information from middlemen when we take on missions. We don't meet the employer directly." Shi Shang sneered, "I think you really want to die." The man shuddered. "I'm telling the truth, but we have something." Whoosh! The throwing knife shot from the side of the man at lightning speed, but when it approached the man, its speed slowed down, as if someone had pressed a slow-motion camera. The iron sword in Shi Shang's hand tilted slightly, and the flying dagger fell from the air onto the deck. "If you want to play tricks with me, I'll beat you to death." The entire space was silent, as if everyone had disappeared, leaving only the sound of the man's heavy breathing. How could the man not know that someone was trying to silence him? He hurriedly took out an item from his sleeve. "This was given to us by the employer. We used it to enter the palace. It was a waist tag. At that time, she was caught in the palace." These people took advantage of the winding roads in the palace, with the help of Plot Kuan, and Shi Shang deliberately going easy on them, to catch her. "That's all we know. We don't know anything else. Your Highness, please spare us." Shi Shang waved his hand, and the man was relieved. He got up from the ground and ran to the edge of the ship. "Aren't you going to arrest him?" Shi Shang looked at the soldiers who were still in a daze. After being reminded by Shi Shang, they came back to their senses and rushed forward to catch the man who had not yet jumped down. "You went back on your word." The man struggled angrily, and his eyes were red. "You said you would let me go." Shi Shang played with the waist tag. "I let you go. They were the ones who arrested you. What does it have to do with me? Don't throw the blame on I. I won't take the blame. You be *Tisich, you'll die a horrible death. Take him away." "Take him away." The man was taken away, and only the soldiers and the girls with Yan Jinxiu were left on the deck. Shi Shang glanced at the girls and pointed at one of them. "Arrest her." She had observed the expressions of these people when the flying dagger came over just now. That girl was obviously not right when she saw the flying dagger slow down. She was not as surprised as the others, but more of them were afraid that they would be exposed. It was obvious that something was wrong. Who else would they arrest if not her? "Your Highness." What was going on? "You let the kidnapper go, and now you want to arrest the victim? Did you consider their feelings when you did this?" Well, she was the princess, and they were just a group of people who followed orders. Why should they care about their feelings? Just arrest her. Why are you talking so much nonsense? Shi Shang glared at the person who spoke. His attitude was bad. "Do you want to die?" "Yes." The person waved his hand. "Arrest her." The girl who was called saw that the situation was not right, and immediately grabbed Yan Jinxiu's arm. Tears fell down. Sister Yen, what did I do wrong? Her Highness wants to arrest me. Yen Jinxiu got along well with this girl before, so she stood in front of her. Your Highness, you should have a reason for arresting people. Shi Shang glanced at her. Meddling in other people's business. Arrest them together. Yen Jinxiu shrank back a little. She didn't need to offend the crazy eldest princess for a person she just met. Just as she was hesitating, the girl who was weak just a moment ago suddenly hugged her from behind and pressed a dagger against her neck. The girl scolded with a ferocious face. Don't come over, or I'll kill her. Oh, she was bitten by a snake. Shi Shang looked at Yen Jinxiu with schadenfreude. Who told you to meddle in other people's business? Yen Jinxiu didn't expect this girl to suddenly kidnap her. Her expression was very ugly. Prepare a boat for me. Why don't you just kill her? Shi Shang egged her on. If she killed the female lead, she might become the female lead. What a profitable thing to do. The girl. Why didn't she follow the script? Your Highness, that's Miss Yen. How could you say that? Shi Shang snorted. She wasn't Yen Jinxiu, so I didn't say anything. The girl looked at the officials. Prepare a boat for me. She didn't care about this girl, but others would. Don't hurt Miss Yen. We can talk about it. The officials comforted the girl. Cut the crap. Prepare a boat immediately, or I'll kill her. The girl was a little agitated. She pressed down with the dagger in her hand. Immediately, a bloody cut appeared on Yen Jinxiu's fair neck. Shi Shang looked at them calmly. It was obvious that he wanted to watch a show. Yen Jinxiu was furious. She was the one who started this, but now she looked like she was watching a show. The wound on her neck was getting deeper and deeper. The officials were still talking nonsense with the girl. Shi Shang felt that if this went on, Yen Jinxiu might die. Dreams were full, but reality was not. When the girl was about to slit Yen Jinxiu's throat, the officials compromised and asked the people to get off the boat. They probably wanted to leave the boat to the girl. Your Highness, this way please. Shi Shang thought for a moment and got off the boat with the others. Judging from the girl's attitude, she was much more loyal than the kidnappers. She probably wouldn't be able to get anything out of her. It was better not to waste time. Chapter 931. Yen Jinxiu and the girl were left on the boat, and the girl asked the officials to drive the boat away. The distance between the two boats gradually increased, and the figures on the deck became smaller and smaller. In the end, they couldn't see anything. What do we do now? Miss Yen is still on the boat. Follow them, we must save Miss Yen. Easy for you to say. The officials gathered together to discuss countermeasures. Shi Shang took a chair out of nowhere and sat on it to eat melon seeds. When the officials finished their discussion, they saw this scene when they turned around. Everyone. Your Highness, you are too relaxed. We are not on vacation now. Can't you be a little nervous? Bang. The violent explosion shocked everyone. There were aftershocks on the deck, and the river shook even more. In the distance, flames shot up into the sky. Explosion. Explosion. Shi Shang's hand that was eating melon seeds also paused. She swore that she didn't do anything. The explosion had nothing to do with her at all. After the explosion, the government sent people to the river to salvage. Yen Jinxiu was found at the bottom of the river. She was only knocked unconscious and soon woke up. Shi Shang later found out that Duanmu Qi was in charge of this matter. No wonder he could invite the female lead, Yen Jinxiu. After Yen Jinxiu woke up, the first thing she did was to complain to Duanmu Qi about Shi Shang's evil deeds. Duanmu Qi had already found out what had happened from the others. It was the emperor who had ordered him to investigate this matter. Who knew there would be such a coincidence? With Shi Shang causing such a ruckus, all his previous efforts had gone to waste. Duanmu Qi directly reported this matter to the emperor. The emperor was relieved that he found his daughter, but Duanmu Qi sent such a big piece of news. Shi Shang came back alone. The emperor didn't know that Shi Shang had been kidnapped. After hearing Duanmu Qi's words, he didn't punish Shi Shang. Instead, he scolded Duanmu Qi. Duanmu Qi came out with a dark face. When he saw Shi Shang standing outside, a sinister look flashed across his eyes. He snorted heavily and left. Shi Shang silently gave him the middle finger. "Your Highness." A gentle voice sounded from behind. Shi Shang calmly retracted his hand and turned his head. The intense color jumped into his sight. The man stood quietly with a fan in his hand. His eyebrows were lowered, and his silhouette was covered with a layer of soft light. He was like a model, and he was the only color under this lens. Prime Minister Lien. Shi Shang's eyes curved into crescents as he glanced at him playfully. "One day apart feels like 3 years. Your Highness, watch your words." Lien Chen raised his eyes slightly and made eye contact with Shi Shang. "This is just a normal greeting." Shi Shang spread his hands. "Prime Minister Lien, what are you thinking about?" Lien Chen. There was something wrong with what she said to begin with. How did he end up thinking of something else? He was silent for a while. "I heard that your Highness was kidnapped. Were you injured? Will your heart ache if I get hurt?" Lien Chen smiled. "This humble subject will naturally worry about your Highness. This is this humble subject's duty." Shi Shang pursed his lips. "No." Hearing Shi Shang's reply, Lien Chen didn't know why, but he suddenly felt relieved. It was a strange feeling, and he didn't like this feeling of being out of control. Lien Chen lowered his head and said in a low voice, "This humble subject has something to discuss with your Highness. I'll take my leave first." Lien Chen walked around Shi Shang in his gorgeous clothes and went into the palace. When Lien Chen came out, it was raining outside. It was already summer, and the rain was fierce. The sky was dark, as if it was about to fall. He looked up at the dark clouds in the sky. The rain that was blown by the wind hit his face, and it was a little cold. "Prime Minister Lien, are you taking things too hard? Do you want to calm down in the rain?" A teasing voice sounded from beside him. Lien Chen's first reaction was that what did taking things too hard have to do with calming down in the rain? His second reaction was that it was Shi Shang's voice. Lien Chen slowly turned his head and saw the girl standing at the end of the corridor. She was alone. The cold wind blew her skirt and made a sound. The sky was low behind her, and it was very gloomy and depressing. The girl's face was calm, and her eyes were like a 10,000-year-old cold lake. There were no waves, but they emitted waves of coldness, which made people not dare to look into her eyes. That was not the look of a 17-year-old girl. Lien Chen suppressed the doubts in his heart, turned around and walked a few steps into the corridor. "Your Highness, you haven't left the palace yet?" "I'm waiting for you." The cold light in her eyes seemed to melt in an instant, and a faint halo spread in her pupils, causing slight ripples. "We're going the same way, so we can go back together." Lien Chen couldn't refute, because they were indeed going the same way. Lien Chen wanted to keep a distance from Shi Shang, but his behavior was always somewhat uncontrollable. "Your Highness, please." Shi Shang came from the end of the corridor and walked down the stairs with her skirt in hand. The palace maid waiting on the side immediately trotted up with an umbrella to block the rain for Shi Shang. Lien Chen followed behind with an umbrella. The rain blocked his view, and the figure in front of him was a little blurred. Lien Chen remembered what the emperor said to him just now. He quickly walked a few steps forward to shorten the distance between them. "Your Highness, His Majesty said that you want this humble official to be your Thai tutor?" Shi Shang slightly looked sideways. "Yes, why?" "Even the Prime Minister doesn't want to?" Lien Chen slightly frowned. "Your Highness, this humble official is busy. I'm afraid I can't teach you. Thai tutor Chi is leisurely at home. He's the most suitable person to teach you." "But I want you." Thai tutor Chi was addicted to eating melon seeds. Last time, he cheated her. She didn't want to see him at all. Lien Chen's breath stopped. For some reason, That sentence made his heart beat faster. He lowered his head to hide the unnatural expression on his face. His voice was cut into pieces by the sound of the rain. Your Highness, this humble official can't afford to accept your kindness. In this world, only you can afford to accept it. The girl's voice seemed to spread from a distant place. It was ethereal and ethereal. It pierced through the curtain of rain and hit his ears clearly. It ironed into the bottom of his heart and lingered in his ears. Lien Chen suddenly took 2 steps back. His tone unconsciously hid a bit of evasiveness. Your Highness, please find someone better. This humble official will leave first. He couldn't have anything to do with her anymore. Lien Chen held the umbrella and left quickly. The sound of the rain couldn't wash away the panic in his heart at this time. Lien Chen returned to the Fu. His clothes were soaked and stuck to his body. Wisps of cold air rushed into his body. He gradually calmed down. She's just a woman. How could he have such a big emotional fluctuation because of her? Gongzi, why didn't you take the sedan chair and walk back? Lien Chen lowered his head and looked at his soaked clothes. The folding fan in his hand was still dripping water. His eyes slightly darkened. Nothing, prepare the hot water. That person hesitated for a moment. Yes. What's wrong with Gongzi? He looks like his soul has left his body. Is the Emperor making things difficult for Gongzi again? Asterisk, there should be a group name here. Lien Chen, I might be sick. The Emperor, beloved minister, where are you sick? Do you need Zhen to help you with court affairs? Shi Shang, lovesickness. System, you've been in the rain for so long. It would be strange if you didn't get sick. The Emperor, Shi Shang, little fairy. Chapter 932. Lien Chen refused to teach Shi Shang. The Emperor was very satisfied, but Shi Shang was furious. Lien Chen, this idiot, was actually avoiding her. Damn it, if she was forced, she would force herself on him. If she really couldn't do it, she would tie him up and raise him. This idea seemed pretty good. Host, what strange things are you thinking about? Please don't share such terrifying thoughts with me. I don't want to know at all. If your thoughts are so terrifying, your Feng Ci will abandon you if he knows. Shi Shang stood expressionlessly in front of the window, holding the waste token. It was still drizzling outside. The rainwater floated in through the window and wet the windowsill. Xiao Xian came in from outside, glanced at Shi Shang, and said softly, Your Highness, official song is here. Shi Shang turned around and sat down on a chair. Let him in. Song Heng didn't know why the eldest princess suddenly summoned him. He was a bit nervous and followed the servant in with his hands and feet tied. This humble subject kowtows in salute to Your Highness, the eldest princess. May Your Highness live for thousands of years. Song Heng directly bowed. Rise. Thank you, Your Highness. Song Heng stood up from the ground and stood in the middle of the room with his head down. He didn't even dare to breathe loudly. Shi Shang never wasted time and went straight to the point. I invited official Song here today to ask you to help me identify something. Hearing this, Song Heng's heart gradually relaxed. It was just identifying something, nothing else. What is it? Shi Shang waved the waste token in his hand. Xiao Xian took it from the side and held it in front of Song Heng with both hands. Official Song. I want to know who owns this. Song Heng took the waste token from Xiao Xian and carefully looked at it for a moment. Your Highness, this is the Prime Minister's waste token. Shi Shang narrowed his eyes and the surrounding air seemed to freeze. Song Heng suddenly felt a chill run down his spine. Song Heng had dealt with the eldest princess before, but he never knew that she had such a terrifying aura. She was not inferior to Her Majesty. You've seen it clearly. Cold sweat broke out on Song Heng's forehead. It is indeed Prime Minister Lien's waste token. The waste token that allows one to freely enter and leave the palace must have a special mark. This humble subject will not be mistaken. This token was issued by the Ministry of Revenue, so how could he not recognize it? Didn't this person call him here because he knew that this item was distributed by the Ministry of Revenue? Lien Chen. Song Heng lowered his head. It was better for him not to get involved in the grudges between these big shots. Shi Shang sent Song Heng away and held the waist tag thoughtfully. He shouldn't be so stupid as to give something like this to others. They were definitely framing him. But who was it? To be able to get Lien Chen's waist tag. Young master, shall we eat first? You haven't eaten for almost a day. The man in front of the desk lowered his eyes and continued painting. His voice was soft and gentle. Put it down. The man sighed, put down the food, and left the study. Lien Chen's hand paused, and he put down the brush. He picked up the coat beside him and put it on. His eyes swept over the window. Your Highness, since you're here, please come in. The window was pushed open from the outside, and Shi Shang jumped in. How did you know I was here? Your Highness, this humble subject's martial arts skills are better than yours. Lien Chen had a perfect smile on his face. Shi Shang pursed his lips and snorted arrogantly. If I didn't do it on purpose, do you think you would know? He shouldn't have said so much to her. He took a deep breath and his attitude became more and more distant. May I know why your Highness has come so late at night? If there's nothing important, this humble subject will send your Highness back home. You haven't eaten yet? Shi Shang asked indifferently. Lien Chen looked at the food beside him. Your Highness, are you here to ask if this humble subject has eaten? I won't starve to death if I miss a meal. I'm just asking. Shi Shang picked up the hem of his wet clothes. Prime Minister Lien, do you have clothes for me to change into? Lien Chen. Why did he feel that she was here to tease him? I'm sorry, Your Highness. There are no women's clothes in this humble subject's residence. This humble subject will send someone to send Your Highness back home. Shi Shang blinked and said something shocking. It's okay. Yours is fine too. Your Highness. Lien Chen raised his voice. Didn't she know that men and women shouldn't touch each other? If you don't bring me clothes, I'll take them off. Shi Shang reached out and pressed on his belt, pretending to unbuckle it. It's a good opportunity to force himself on me. I'm so awesome. Lien Chen's eyebrows jumped. He didn't doubt that she would really do that. Your Highness, please wait a moment. Lien Chen left the study. After a while, he came back with a set of clean clothes and put it in front of Shi Shang. This humble subject has never worn these before. Shi Shang reached out and flipped through the clothes. Suddenly, he leaned in front of him. Actually, I don't mind if you wear them before. Lien Chen calmly took a step back. This humble subject will leave first. Your Highness, please call this humble subject when you're done changing. Lien Chen left the study and stared at the green plants in the distance. He didn't know what he was thinking until Shi Shang called him. Then, he looked away and turned to go in. Shi Shang was smaller than him. She had made some simple adjustments to the large areas. Except for the robe, which was a little big, the rest of the clothes fit her perfectly. The young girl's face was exquisite. She had bright eyes and white teeth. Her eyebrows were full of confidence and arrogance. The peach-pink robe made her skin look even fairer, like a rare jade. She was like a piece of jade, and her sun was unparalleled in this world. Do I look good? Shi Shang twirled around. Lien Chen lowered his eyelids. Her Highness looks very good. She's a good match for you, isn't she? Lien Chen. Your Highness. Shi Shang slammed the waist tag on the table and interrupted Lien Chen. His eyes suddenly turned cold. Prime Minister Lien, shouldn't you give me an explanation? Lien Chen was stunned by Shi Shang's sudden change in attitude. His eyes slowly fell on the waist tag. Lien Chen picked up the waist tag and flipped it over. Of course he recognized his own belongings. He walked around Shi Shang and walked to the bookshelf next to him. He took a brocade box from it and opened it. There was nothing in the brocade box. Lien Chen's eyes suddenly darkened. He hadn't used this waist tag for a long time. With his current status, his face was his pass to enter and leave the palace. He didn't expect. Where did your highness get this thing? Lien Chen restrained the dangerous look in his eyes and put the waist tag back into the brocade box. Shi Shang propped up his chin. Someone took this to the palace and kidnapped me. Wasn't it Prime Minister Lien's order? Lien Chen's hand froze on the brocade box. After a while, he withdrew his hand. Your Highness, I have no reason to kidnap you.
Oh.
So someone stole your belongings and caused me to suffer an unexpected disaster? Cannon fodder was like this. They were cannon fodder wherever they went. I'm a strong cannon fodder. The system habitually complained. The host was simply a poisonous cannon fodder. Who wouldn't be unlucky to meet her? Don't worry, Your Highness. I'll give you an explanation. Why should I believe you? Shi Shang raised his eyebrows. Why should I believe you just because you say so? Lien Chen spoke unhurriedly. Whether Your Highness believes it or not, I didn't ask anyone to kidnap you. Asterisk, there should be a group name here. Little Fairy, the young mistresses haven't been fighting for favor these days. Has my charm decreased? Emperor, how dare you? I'm here. Pure consort, Your Majesty is mighty. Shi Shang, who is pure consort? System, pure consort only exists in legends. Cherub, I suspect this is a fake group. Little Fairy, the young mistresses voted. Cherub, I knew it was a fancy advertisement. Chapter 933. Shi Shang curled the corners of his mouth into a smile. That smile was not kind at all. It was even a little sarcastic and nasty. Lien Chen stared at him fixedly. She changed her face so fast that he couldn't understand what she was thinking. Shi Shang said faintly, Prime Minister Lien, in general, it's your dereliction of duty that caused me to suffer an undeserved disaster. Is that right? Yes. It's good that you admit it. Shi Shang got up and walked to Lien Chen in a few steps. He raised his head slightly and looked into Lien Chen's eyes. As compensation, would you like to marry me? The room suddenly became silent. The pitter-patter of the rain outside seemed to be isolated. In the whole room, there was only the light and long breaths of the two people. He saw the seriousness in her eyes. It was not the playful indifference from before. Instead, it was an extremely serious emotion. That kind of emotion made him have an impulse to surrender. But he couldn't. Your Highness. Lien Chen stepped back. However, the desk behind him made it impossible for him to retreat. He could only stiffen his body. I don't have the fortune to enjoy it. Shi Shang looked domineering. If I say you have it, then you have it. Lien Chen suddenly raised his head. Your Highness, why do you want me to marry you? No reason. I like you. Is this humble subject's face? Due to his notoriety, the number of people who wanted him dead far outnumbered the number of people who wanted him alive. As for those who wanted to marry him, they were only interested in his looks. If you think so, then so be it. Lien Chen reached for the folding fan on the desk. He didn't know where he pressed, but a sharp blade came out from the top of the folding fan. He held the folding fan and directly scratched his face. Shi Shang was startled. He reached out to grab his arm, but it was too late. The sharp knife left a bloody gash on his face. Blood flowed down his cheeks and dripped onto his peach-colored robes, dyeing the robes even redder. Are you crazy? Shi Shang took the folding fan from his hand and threw it at the desk next to her. The blood-stained end of the fan smashed onto the white rice paper that was spread out. The red blood and black ink intertwined, making for an eerie scene. Your Highness, there's no need to be so nervous. It's just a face. Lien Chen said indifferently. If it weren't for you, Feng Ci, do you think I would treat you so well? Shi Sheng wanted to slap him to death. F***ck, this retard actually had the tendency to self-harm. What am I not? Lien Chen looked at Shi Sheng. Obscure lights intertwined at the bottom of his eyes, making it difficult for others to see clearly. Shi Sheng did not answer. Your Highness, I have a bad reputation and am not a good match for you. You should find a gentleman with a clean background to be your son-in-law. Shi Sheng suddenly pressed him hard on the desk and said fiercely, Lien Chen, I'm telling you, even if you die, you're still mine. After she finished speaking, she kissed him directly. She lowered her body and suddenly fell back, knocking the things on the desk to the ground, making a crisp sound. Blood seeped into Lien Chen's mouth from the corner of his mouth. Shi Sheng tasted blood and felt nauseous. She suddenly let go of Lien Chen and supported herself on the desk, gasping for breath. Lien Chen was under her and stared at her side face in a daze. He could still feel her warmth on his lips, so soft and warm. Shi Sheng stepped back, his face a little pale. He took out a porcelain bottle from his space. 3 times a day. It won't leave a scar. I'll leave first. Shi Sheng left through the window and disappeared from Lien Chen's sight in the blink of an eye. Lien Chen stayed in that position for a long time. He reached out his hand, rubbed his index finger on his lips, and lowered his eyes slightly. He stood up straight and shouted towards the outside, Men. The door was quickly pushed open. The person who came in saw Lien Chen's bloody appearance and was shocked. Sir, what happened? Lien Chen casually wiped the blood off his face. You didn't even know that there was a mole in the residence. Go and receive your punishment. Mole? What happened? Yifeng is stupid. Yifeng knelt down and lowered his head. Sir, please tell me. He really didn't understand what Sir was talking about. Lien Chen's eyes fell on the folding fan on the desk. Someone touched my waist tag. Yifeng's eyes widened. I understand. He had investigated the people in the residence over and over again. He also knew that there were several spies planted by other families. But now, someone actually touched Sir's things without anyone knowing. How dare they? Shi Sheng jumped out of the Prime Minister's residence and landed in an empty alley. She leaned against the wet wall and her face was even paler than before. Ugh! She didn't eat much when she came out. Now, she vomited some stomach acid. The taste of blood still lingered in her mouth. It was unbearable. Host, are you okay? I won't die. Shi Sheng squatted in the corner. The system is concerned about you, but you don't know what's good for you. Shi Sheng wiped her mouth and stood up with the support of the wall. She was not okay now. Some of her abandoned memories were recovering. Shi Sheng pinched her palm. The pain woke her up and forced her to suppress those memories. Host, are you really okay? Her hand was bleeding. Did the host learn to hurt herself? Shi Sheng didn't say anything. She was emitting a dangerous aura, which made people not dare to approach her. Host? Shi Sheng let out a long sigh. Don't ask about me. If you know too much, you will be killed. Ah, the bastard host threatened it again. It really cared about her. Well, in fact, it was also curious about why the host became like this when she touched blood. She didn't have any problem touching or smelling blood. But once the blood entered her mouth, she became abnormal. The original host's information seemed to be very detailed, but in fact, it was all useless information. It was completely different from the host it had met before. The information it got might be fake. The system needs to go offline to calm down. The system didn't say anything. Shi Sheng stood there for a while, then left the alley and went back to the princess's residence. Xiao Xian was dumbfounded when she saw her come back in men's clothes. What did Her Highness do behind her back? Your Highness. Xiao Xian's voice trembled. Whose clothes are you wearing? Why did it look like Prime Minister Lien's? Illusion, it must be an illusion. Why did Her Highness come back in Prime Minister Lien's clothes? Yes, it must be her illusion. Lien Chen's. Shi Sheng's words directly destroyed Xiao Xian's last hope. Your Highness, what did you and Prime Minister Lien do? Why did she come back in his clothes? If His Majesty were to find out, she would lose her life as well. What are you thinking about? Shi Shang patted Xiao Xian's head. I didn't do anything with him. I just wore his clothes. Xiao Xian's tense nerves relaxed. She patted her chest. You scared me to death. But before she could calm down, she heard Her Highness muttering, I want to sleep with him, but he won't let me. Asterisk hashtag countdown to the new year hashtag today. I want a monthly ticket hashtag don't ask me what this ticket is. It's a monthly ticket and a recommendation ticket. Yes, that's it. Ha 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 ha. Chapter 934. Xiao Xian suspected that she was hallucinating. How could Her Highness say something like that? But reality proved that she wasn't hallucinating. Her Highness was coveting the Prime Minister. It wasn't a normal coveting. There are so many good men in the capital that Your Highness didn't choose. Why did you take things so hard and take a fancy to the Prime Minister? Who was the Prime Minister? A treacherous official. Who knows when he would be forced off the stage by someone? Your Highness, the ginseng soup is ready. When do you want to use it? Shi Shang looked up. Send it to Prime Minister Lien. Ah! Xiao Xian was shocked. Why send it to Prime Minister Lien? Prime Minister Lien didn't lack such things. Send it to Prime Minister Lien. Shi Shang repeated. Do I have to repeat myself a third time? I'll go now. Xiao Xian quickly agreed. Was Her Highness possessed? Why did she care so much about the Prime Minister? Xiao Xian sent the ginseng soup to Lien Chen. The servant of the Prime Minister's mansion who received the ginseng soup was very confused. This was right across the door. What was Princess Royal doing? When the soup reached Lien Chen's hands, it was already cold. Young master, what does the eldest princess mean? Yi Feng was confused. Young master was investigating the eldest princess, and now the eldest princess was sending the ginseng soup for no reason. So strange. Lien Chen kissed the ginseng soup. It didn't smell good, so he put it down. How's the investigation? When Lien Chen talked about serious matters, Yi Feng's expression became serious. I found it. It's Junwang Duanmu Qi's men. Duanmu Qi? Yi Feng nodded slightly and asked in confusion, what did Duanmu Qi do with your waste token? Lien Chen rubbed his fingers on the bowl of soup that wasn't cold yet. His gentle voice sounded in the room. Killing two birds with one stone. Duanmu Qi is good at scheming. Yi Feng was even more confused. What was young master talking about? Did something happen that he didn't know about? Lien Chen didn't intend to say anything. He waved his hand to dismiss Yi Feng. Yi Feng left in confusion. After Yi Feng left, Lien Chen looked at the ginseng soup and fell into deep thought. Duanmu Qi had a grudge against her. He saw it with his own eyes. He also stole his waste token. Once the officials found the token, the consequences could be imagined. Duanmu Qi couldn't wait any longer to deal with him. Recently, the atmosphere in the capital had been somewhat stifling. It was the prelude to a storm, as if something big was about to happen. Under such a tense atmosphere, Shi Shang continued to deliver things to Lien Chen every day without fail. Sometimes it was food, and sometimes it was some weird stuff. Now, everyone in the Prime Minister's residence knew that the eldest princess had taken a fancy to their Prime Minister. It was unknown how this matter was spread outside. Soon, everyone in the capital knew that the eldest princess had taken a fancy to the treacherous official, Lien Chen. Even many officials knew about it. When they went to court, they all looked at Lien Chen strangely. This wasn't the first time the eldest princess and Lien Chen had met. Why didn't she take a liking to him before? Why did she suddenly like him now? The emperor had a headache. He would definitely not agree to Shi Shang marrying Lien Chen. If he had known that she moved out for Lien Chen, he would not have agreed at all. It was too late for him to get his daughter back now. Lien Chen, the person involved, was very calm. He went to court when he had to and schemed against the officials when he had to. He didn't seem to be affected at all. It was as if he wasn't the main character of the rumors outside. Everyone vaguely understood his attitude. Lien Chen didn't like the eldest princess. In late August, it was the hottest summer. Something big happened in the court. Duan Feng was embezzling, buying and selling official positions, accepting bribes, abusing public office for personal gain, and other crimes were exposed. What angered the emperor the most was that Duan Feng was involved in human trafficking. This organization was the one that kidnapped Shi Sheng. The entire Duan family was executed. Those who were involved with the Duan family were all sent to prison. The favored concubine Shu of the Duan family was also banished to the cold palace. The person in charge of this matter was the Prime Minister Lien Chen. Shi Sheng climbed over the wall and entered. A servant happened to be cleaning. Suddenly, someone jumped in. The servant bowed calmly. "Your Highness, eldest princess." There was a door, but she didn't use it. This person liked to climb over the wall. What kind of cat cake was this? She scared a lot of people before, and there were a few times when they almost fought. But after she came a few more times, this didn't happen again. Lien Chen naturally didn't allow Shi Sheng to enter, but his people couldn't stop her at all. Shi Sheng could think of all kinds of ways to get in. In the end, Lien Chen compromised. Anyway, he pretended not to see Shi Sheng. "Where's your young master?" Shi Sheng patted her skirt. "Young master hasn't returned yet. Court has already ended at this time." "Why isn't he back yet?" Shi Sheng muttered. "Young master has been busy recently. Sometimes he comes back late at night." After such a big thing happened in the court, as the Prime Minister, it was normal for Lien Chen to be busy. "Don't worry about me. Go do your work." Shi Sheng waved his hand. "Yes." The servant was very assured to let Shi Sheng wander around the residence. Except for climbing over the wall privately, this person didn't mess around in the residence. She didn't enter other rooms. Most of the time, she sat outside the study and ate melon seeds. Yes, it was said that they were called melon seeds. When Lien Chen returned, night had already fallen. "Young master, the remaining members of the Duan family have been dealt with. But Duan Muki's people are competing with our people for the vacant position in the Ministry of War." Yi Feng followed behind Lien Chen and reported the news he received. "He hasn't been in the capital for long. His foundation isn't stable. He won't be too flamboyant." Lien Chen's voice was still gentle. "Young master, you mean?" Lien Chen suddenly reached out and interrupted him. He followed Lien Chen's gaze and saw the study in front. A servant stood outside the study with a lamp in his hand. Beside him sat a petite figure. She leaned against a pillar with her eyes lowered. She seemed to be asleep. The moon was bright in the sky and the insects were chirping. "It's Her Highness." Yi Feng subconsciously lowered his voice. Lien Chen walked to her side. The servant standing next to her bowed. "Young master." "How long has she been here?" "She arrived in the afternoon. We tried to persuade Her Highness to go back, but Her Highness didn't listen." Lien Chen looked at Shi Sheng silently. Yi Feng gave the servant a look. The servant hung the lantern at the side and left with Yi Feng. "Her Highness, why do you have to do this?" Lien Chen sighed. Shi Sheng moved and slowly raised her head. Her eyes were cold and reflected his figure. After a while, she reached out her hand. "Prime Minister Lien, help me. My legs are numb." Lien Chen was a little unwilling. But when he saw Shi Sheng frowning, he still reached out to help her stand up. Shi Sheng moved her legs. "Why did you come back so late?" "I had official business to attend to." "About Duan Feng?" "Yes." Shi Sheng tilted her head. "Is Duan Feng really guilty of so many crimes?" Lien Chen was silent for a few seconds. He let go of Shi Sheng and took a step back. "Her Highness, it's late. I'll send someone to send you back. Please vote. Please vote. Please vote." Chapter 935. Why should I go back? I'm here to sleep with my wife. Why should I go back? Why should I go back? I'm not going back. Your Highness, it's getting late. People will start gossiping. Hey, aren't there a lot of people gossiping now? Shi Shang tilted his head. I don't care if there are more gossips. Maybe you'll agree to marry me because of the pressure from the rumors? Lien Chen's eyes darkened. Your Highness, it's impossible between us. Please don't pester me. His voice became softer and softer. For some reason, he felt his heart ache. It was as if someone had stabbed him with a needle and slowly pulled it out. Why is it impossible? I won't leave if I don't tell you something today. Lien Chen slowed his breathing to ease the strange pain. He said slowly, Your Highness, my hands have been stained with blood. I've killed countless people. It's the same now, and it will be the same in the future. My hands are dirty. I don't have the right to be with you. Even if he agreed, His Majesty wouldn't. He would only be surrounded by danger. Shi Shang reached out and waved his hand in front of Lien Chen. Do you think my hands are clean? I have killed so many people that I could circle the earth if I held hands with them. Your Highness is noble. Of course you're clean. Even if he had to deal with some people, he didn't have to do it himself. Shi Shang. This time, Feng Ci is going to flip the table. Shi Shang grabbed Lien Chen's collar and pushed him into the study. He pressed him against the door. There was no light in the study. They could only vaguely see the outline of the room. Your Highness, what do you want to do? Lien Chen's voice was unhurried, as if he wasn't pressed down by Shi Shang. Shi Shang sneered. Do what you want to do. She reached out and touched Lien Chen's waist. Lien Chen's hand accurately grabbed hers to prevent her from doing anything rash. Your Highness, don't force me. You're not my match. Shi Shang leaned close to him. His warm breath blew against his ear. Is that so? Then let's try. If I win, you'll sleep with I. How about that? Lien Chen. How could a princess speak so vulgarly? The two of them were secretly competing with each other. Lien Chen had never shown her how powerful he was in front of her. This time, Shi Shang had underestimated him. Perhaps it was because Feng Ci had been too lenient with her in the past, causing her to be unable to truly experience his true strength as a villain. Lien Chen was afraid of hurting Shi Shang, so he didn't use his full strength. Otherwise, he would have thrown Shi Shang out of the study. He didn't know why he was so afraid of her getting hurt. It was more like a conditioned reflex. His body's actions were faster than his brain's. Your Highness, please go back. I don't want to hurt you. No. Shi Shang suddenly kicked him. Shocked, Lien Chen had to let go of her and retreat to the middle of the study. Shi Shang took out his sword and slashed at Lien Chen. Cold light flashed in the study, and her figure was like a ghost. Lien Chen suddenly wondered if she was going to kill him or sleep with him. From the looks of it, he clearly wanted to silence them by killing them. The study was in a mess. Most of the things had died tragically under Shi Shang's iron sword. Lien Chen grabbed Shi Shang's hand from the side and took the iron sword from her. His voice was slightly cold. Your Highness, stop fooling around. Shi Shang wanted to take back the iron sword. Lien Chen turned sideways. Who knew that Shi Shang would stumble because of him? He heard her gasp. Your Highness. No one responded. In the darkness, her silhouette was blurred and she was slightly bent. Lien Chen didn't dare to approach her. He could only ask from afar, Your Highness, are you okay? It hurts. A faint voice came from the darkness. Lien Chen's heart sank. He didn't know what to think. He threw the sword away, went forward and picked up Shi Shang. He strode out of the study. Guards. Yi Feng came from the corner. He was surprised to see his master carrying Shi Shang. Master. What were Her Highness and Master doing in the room? Call Zhao Yu. Yi Feng hurriedly replied, Master Zhao Yu hasn't returned. Go and find him. If you don't see him in 2 hours, you don't have to come back. Lien Chen was emitting a cold aura. Yi Feng's expression changed slightly. I'll go now. Get rid of the things in the study. I don't want to see them. Lien Chen carried Shi Shang and quickly passed by Yi Feng. Yi Feng glanced at the study. Could it be that thing raised by Master Zhao Yu had? Oh my God. Yi Feng only felt a headache coming. When did Master Zhao Yu put that thing in the study again? Didn't Master throw it out last time? Master Zhao Yu, you're dead meat. Yi Feng closed the door of the study. It was more urgent to find Master Zhao Yu first. Lien Chen carried Shi Shang to his room. With the light, Shi Shang's face appeared clearly in front of him. Probably because of the pain, there was some cold sweat on his forehead. However, there was not much pain on his face. His eyes were cold, without the slightest fluctuation. He placed Shi Shang on the bed and lifted his clothes to check his legs. He saw a bloodstain on one side and looked at Shi Shang. I've offended your highness. Lien Chen took off his shoes and rolled up his trousers. There were 2 clear teeth marks on his fair calves. The blood seeped out slowly, and the surrounding area was already turning black. Lien Chen carefully checked it, and his frown deepened. Shi Shang propped himself up on the bed and looked down at his calves. What's this? A snake? Dragon-feathered snake. It lives in the extreme north. It's extremely venomous. If there's no antidote in 2 hours, there's nothing you can do. Oh. Shi Shang reached out and poked the wound. The edge of the wound was already a little hard, and it was very painful when he poked it. Damn it, he would get hurt every time he met him. Your Highness. Lien Chen pressed his hand down. Don't move. Zhao Yu will be back soon. You'll be fine. What does it matter if I die or not? You don't care anyway. Shi Shang broke free from Lien Chen and continued to poke at the wound. This thing seemed to be numbing his nerves, and the pain was gradually disappearing. Shi Shang's tone was too casual, as if he didn't care about life or death at all. The pain of being pricked by needles engulfed him again. This time, it was even more violent than before. Your Highness. Lien Chen's voice was hoarse. Where's my sword? Shi Shang tilted his head and asked, interrupting him at the right moment. Lien Chen lowered his gaze. I'll go get it for you now. He got up and left the room. Shi Shang looked around the room. It was very simple. There were only his things in the room, and most of them were the landscape paintings he hung on the wall. The scenery in each painting was different, but they were all very spectacular. If such paintings were put in the modern world, they would definitely be sold for a high price. Asterisk little fairy. Ah, come on, vote. Cherub. It's the new year, why vote? I'm not voting. Little fairy. You guys can't even let me have a good new year. I'm going to get stuck. Cherub. Go ahead. You're stuck every day anyway. Little fairy. I can actually skip 1 chapter. That way, I won't get stuck. Cherub. Let's just vote. Chapter 936. Lien Chen came back very quickly. 2 servants came in with him. They were holding copper basins filled with hot water. Lien Chen put the iron sword beside Shi Shang. Your Highness, your sword. The sword was very light and didn't weigh much when she held it in her hand. But when she wielded it, it was very powerful. It was a very strange sword. Lien Chen took the copper basin and asked the servants to leave. He put the basin beside Shi Shang's feet and soaked a handkerchief. The water was very hot. His hand turned red as soon as it touched the wound. He wrung the handkerchief dry and cleaned the blood around her wound. Then, he wet the handkerchief again, wrung it until it was half dry and spread it over her wound. Heat spread around the wound. Her numb nerves started to feel pain again. Your Highness, please bear with it. Lien Chen looked up. The pain will keep you awake. Hug. Shi Shang opened his arms. His expression changed quickly and he looked a little pitiful. Lien Chen hesitated. Your Highness, men and women shouldn't touch each other. Didn't you kiss me? Lien Chen's ears turned hot when he thought of that. Your Highness, that was an accident. It hurts. Your Highness. Just a hug. Shi Shang took a step back. Lien Chen's heart shrank. He hesitated for a while and then covered her wound with a handkerchief again. Then, he stood up and walked to her side and hugged her. Shi Shang put his arms around his waist and pressed against his abdomen. Your Highness, you can let go of me now. Shi Shang was a little reluctant. He rubbed against Lien Chen's body and then let him go. Lien Chen let out a sigh of relief. His heart rate was accelerating, as if it was going to jump out. 2 hours had passed. Yi Feng came back, but he didn't bring anyone back. Master, we didn't find Master Zhao Yu. Yi Feng knelt on the ground with cold sweat on his forehead. Have you searched all the places he usually goes? Lien Chen's voice was cold. Yi Feng braced himself and said, We've searched everywhere. No one has seen Master Zhao Yu. Young Master Zhao Yu, why did you have to go missing at this time of all times? You even secretly let the dragon-feathered snake into young Master's study. If something were to happen to His Highness, you wouldn't be able to pay for it even if you had several lives. Send people to continue the search. Yes. Yi Feng left quickly. Lien Chen stood outside for a while before turning around and entering the room. He walked slowly to the Shi Shang, squatted down, and removed the handkerchief covering the wound. Your Highness, is there anything you would like to do? Shi Shang tilted his head. What I want to do? To sleep with you. Is that all? Something like that. You can't do something like destroying the world. Must I? Shi Shang pondered for a moment and said with a serious face, I have to do it. Lien Chen moved the cold copper basin away, bandaged the wound with gauze, and moved Shi Shang to the bed. He looked down at Shi Shang from above. His fingers slowly unbuckled his belt, and his robe fell to the ground from his body. Your Highness, I'm sorry. He waved his hand and the curtains on both sides automatically fell down, blocking the two figures. When Yi Feng brought Zhao Yu back, it was already dawn the next day. It's too late. Yi Feng stared at the tightly shut door. We're doomed. A man wearing a blue brocade robe beside him scratched his messy head. What do you mean doomed? Aren't there 2 living people in there? Yi Feng suddenly turned his head. Master Zhao Yu, His Highness has been poisoned by the dragon-feathered snake. 2 hours have passed. Zhao Yu was surprised. When did you steal my dragon-feathered snake? Weren't you the one who put it in Master's study? Zhao Yu suddenly realized. Ah, you're talking about that. That's the baby snake I let mate with another snake. The symptoms of being poisoned are the same as the dragon-feathered snake, but the toxicity is less than 1/10 of the dragon-feathered snake's. It won't kill anyone. Sigh. I'll try another species next time. Not the dragon-feathered snake. Yi Feng's heart calmed down. But Master Zhao Yu, you're courting death. Master will beat you to death. Creak. The door was suddenly pulled open and Lien Chen came out. Yi Feng immediately went forward. Is His Highness all right? Lien Chen. He's alive and kicking. I feel like I've been cheated. Ah Chen. Zhao Yu went forward and sniffed. She gossiped. You and someone. Lien Chen glared at Zhao Yu. Zhao Yu immediately shut up and gave Lien Chen a knowing look. Get someone to send hot water in. After you check on her, come to the study and find me. Lien Chen strode away. Zhao Yu scratched her head and asked Yi Feng in confusion, who's inside? Ah Chen actually took her virginity. Yi Feng. So everything he said before was fed to the dogs? Yi Feng took a deep breath. Princess Royal. Princess Royal. Zhao Yu seemed to be frightened. She immediately chased after Lien Chen. Master Zhao Yu. Yi Feng called from behind. Master asked you to check on His Highness first. Why are you chasing after him? Sure enough, Zhao Yu came back dejectedly after a while. Shi Shang was exhausted. She lay on the bed with a hopeless expression. Zhao Yu sat beside her and took her pulse. However, her eyes were curiously glancing at her face. She muttered, "She's not as good-looking as Ah Chen. Why did Ah Chen take a fancy to her?" Shi Shang. If she was as good-looking as Lien Chen, she wouldn't be cannon fodder. Who is this idiot? Zhao Yu suddenly stopped muttering. She frowned and became serious in the next second. Does His Highness feel unwell? No. Zhao Yu let go of her hand. Rest well, His Highness. This commoner will take his leave. He paused. His Highness was tired last night. This commoner will prescribe a tonic for him. His Highness, remember to take it. Zhao Yu packed up and left, heading straight for the study. The study had already been tidied up. Lien Chen was sitting behind the desk with a book in his hand. However, his attention was clearly not on the book. Ah Chen, are you still thinking about it? Zhao Yu took the book from his hand and sat down on the table. You're really something. You even dared to touch the eldest princess. Aren't you afraid that the one above will kill you? He paused. That person dotes on the eldest princess so much. If you really marry her, you might be able to avoid Zhao Yu. Lien Chen wanted to Zhao Yu. There was a hint of warning in his eyes. Zhao Yu shrugged. Ah Chen, have you considered the future? Do you really plan to follow your father's path? Lien Chen took the book back and said lightly, "That's the fate of the Lien family." Ha ha ha, you still believe in fate? Zhao Yu seemed to have heard a joke. That's not what you said when you first found me. How is she? Lien Chen avoided the topic. Zhao Yu jumped down from the table and said seriously, "Ah Chen, you can really listen to me and marry her." Lien Chen frowned. She bribed you? Zhao Yu shook her head and said faintly, "She won't live long." Chapter 937. Shi Shang rested for a while. Sure enough, a servant came to deliver the medicine. Shi Shang smelled it. There was a strange smell in it. After a while, she remembered what it was and her face turned ugly. This was pregnancy prevention medicine. She couldn't get pregnant at all. Your Highness, the medicine is cold. The servant reminded Shi Shang. Shi Shang frowned and drank it in one gulp. Does Lien Chen know about this medicine? The servant thought for a while. This was ordered by young master Zhao Yu. The young master shouldn't know. I want to see him. I'll go get the young master now. Your Highness, please wait for a moment. The servant carried the bowl of soup away. Lien Chen came over after a while. His attitude was still respectful. Your Highness. It was as if nothing had happened between them last night. I'll send your Highness back. What, you don't want to admit it? Shi Shang looked at him coldly. Lien Chen was silent for a few seconds. His voice was soft. I don't dare. Since you don't dare, then tell me. Are you going to marry her or not? Your Highness, I'll send you back. Lien Chen avoided the topic. Shi Shang. Very good. This time he met someone who didn't want to take responsibility. Shi Shang didn't want to talk to an idiot. He rejected Lien Chen's servant and left by himself. Lien Chen watched her leave. His eyes were unreadable. Since you like her, why did you let her go? Zhao Yu appeared out of nowhere. She scratched her head and yawned. There's not much time anyway. Let her live a happy life. She didn't like you in vain. Lien Chen looked away. His voice was calm. Because of this, she should stay away from me. Zhao Yu was stunned. She sighed. Ah Chen. I don't think the eldest princess is someone who would give up so easily. Lien Chen couldn't help but think of what she had done in the past few months. She was indeed someone who didn't give up easily. Ah Chen, let me give you a piece of advice. Marrying her won't do you any harm. Even if she ends up Zhao Yu's voice trailed off. Lien Chen walked past her. Don't let me hear this again. Zhao Yu pursed her lips. She waited until Lien Chen was far away before muttering, I'm doing it for your own good. Why am I wrong? Not long after Shi Shang went back, the Prime Minister's residence sent her some medicine. The remaining poison in her body had not been completely removed, so she needed to recuperate. Your Highness, why did the Prime Minister give you this? Isn't this cursing you? Little Xian was very dissatisfied. Who would give other people medicine? Boil it according to the recipe. Your Highness. Although this medicine was sent from the Prime Minister's residence, he didn't know what kind of medicine it was. How could he casually take it? What if the Prime Minister wanted to harm him? Shi Shang glanced at her coldly. Xiao Xian bit her lower lip and said, Yes. Little Xian found that Her Highness was becoming more and more strange. Her Highness, who had never paid attention to court affairs before, was now concerned about court affairs. She always appeared and disappeared mysteriously. He had no idea what she was doing. The daily delivery of gifts to the Prime Minister's residence was still ongoing. What was different from before was that Lien Chen refused to accept them. Basically, the gifts would be sent back the next day. This strange situation left everyone dumbfounded. Rumors began to spread in the capital that the Princess Royal was throwing herself at the Prime Minister and that the Prime Minister didn't even like her. In ancient times, girls were in a weak position. Even if Lien Chen was a treacherous minister, the focus of these people's public opinion was still Shi Shang. The more they talked about him, the worse it sounded. Shi Shang didn't care about this at all. The Emperor sent someone to pass on a message, but she ignored it. She stubbornly coveted Lien Chen. She didn't believe that she couldn't win over this idiot. In the blink of an eye, it was winter. The wind was biting cold. Shi Shang, as the Princess Royal, naturally had to attend the New Year's banquet in the palace. Shi Shang came down from the sedan chair. The gorgeous figure standing in the distance jumped into Shi Shang's sight. He stood with his head down. Even in winter, he was still holding the jade folding fan. Lien Chen probably sensed Shi Shang's gaze. He raised his head and looked over. Their eyes met unexpectedly in the air. He nodded slightly and suddenly turned to walk into the hall. Your Highness. She couldn't understand why His Highness fell in love with Prime Minister Lien among so many young masters in the capital. Sister Chongning. A sweet voice came from behind. Shi Shang slightly turned around. Fourth Princess Duanmu Xin, whom she hadn't seen for a long time, trotted over. Sister Chongning, you haven't been back to the palace recently. Xin misses you so much. Last time, this girl said that she would attend the flower appreciating banquet with her. She didn't see her until the banquet ended. After that, there was no news about her. Now she popped up again. There was a cat biscuit. Why do you miss me? Did she miss her death? Sister Chongning, of course Xin misses you. Duanmu Xin looked aggrieved. Don't you miss Xin? No. Most of the people she missed were going to die. The only one who didn't die was the idiot who slept with her and didn't admit it. If it was necessary, she could also kill him for a while. The host was too scary. A trace of resentment flashed in Duanmu Xin's eyes. The smile on her face was a bit stiff. After a while, she returned to normal. Sister Chongning, don't tease Xin. Shi Shang glanced at Duanmu Xin faintly. Shameless people were invincible in the world. This girl had understood a little bit of the true meaning of the phrase. Sister Chongning. Duanmu Xin suddenly looked around mysteriously. Sister Chongning, do you know that father is going to announce something today? Don't want to know. Don't gossip with me. I won't listen. Shi Shang lifted her feet and walked inside. Duanmu Xin didn't want to give up. Sister Chongning, father is going to grant a marriage to my third sister. Do you know who it is? Seeing that Shi Shang didn't respond, Duanmu Xin said directly, It's Prime Minister Lien. Shi Shang paused. Are you done? Being glanced at by Shishang's calm eyes, Duanmu Xian felt scared for no reason. She stammered, "Yes, I'm done." Shishang continued to walk forward. "Then don't follow me. It's useless to sow discord." "What I want." She paused. Her voice floated into Duanmu Xian's heart along with the cold wind. "Death can only belong to me." At that moment, it seemed that ice was frozen. "Princess Royal is here," the eunuch's voice spread throughout the hall. Everyone in the hall stood up to greet her and knelt down. Shishang walked from the middle of the red carpet to his seat. The emperor hadn't appointed the crown prince yet, but Shishang's seat was in front of all the princes. If she didn't know that the emperor didn't want to appoint Shishang as the crown prince, she would have been a thorn in the side of these princes. "You may rise." "Thank you, Your Highness." Everyone got up from the ground and returned to their seats. Probably because of Shishang's presence, these people spoke very softly. Shishang glanced over the crowd. He didn't see Lian Chen. He clearly came in just now. ****. Feng Xi is going to be beaten. Ha ha ha. Chapter 938. Shishang didn't find Lian Chen, but he saw the female lead and the male lead. Duanmu Qi sat alone and drank. Yan Jinxiu still looked weak and frail. She sat in a corner and no one spoke to her. She looked quite pitiful. During this time, Duanmu Qi was busy competing with Lian Chen for the vacant position in the Ministry of War. He didn't have much time to flirt with the female lead, and their relationship didn't make much progress. Shishang held his chin and thought. In the plot, Yan Jinxiu would shine at this banquet and start her rise. Shishang didn't see Lian Chen come in with the emperor until the banquet was about to start. After bowing along with everyone else, he returned to his seat, ignoring Shishang's scrutinizing gaze. The emperor looked at his daughter and felt helpless. He cleared his throat and said, "Today, I have something to announce." All the officials were silent and waited with bated breath. The eunuch next to him received the emperor's signal and immediately unfolded the imperial edict that had been prepared in advance. Shishang held his chin and listened to the eunuch reading the imperial edict. He gently turned the wine glass with his fingertips. "The prince consort's mansion will be granted and the wedding will be held on the same day. Prime Minister, please accept the edict." Everyone glanced at Shishang intentionally or unintentionally. This prime minister had been coveting the prime minister for a long time. Now, the emperor suddenly granted the prime minister a marriage, but it wasn't her. Lian Chen took a deep breath and slowly got up. He walked to the middle, lifted his clothes and knelt down. Click. Everyone looked at the place where the sound came from. Shishang pushed the wine glass away and said calmly, "Why are you looking at me?" "Look at the prime minister." Shishang suddenly stood up and walked to the middle. He looked down at Lian Chen. "Prime Minister Lian, if you're not afraid that your bride will be a corpse, then accept the imperial edict." Changning. The emperor was furious. "When are you going to stop fooling around? Leave now." Shishang glanced at the emperor. "Father, if you don't want trouble at the wedding, you'd better take back the imperial edict. Otherwise, I'm not sure what I'll do." The emperor's face darkened. "Come, take the Princess Royal away." "Your Majesty," Lian Chen suddenly said, "I am indebted to your Majesty's great love. The third princess is virtuous and virtuous. This humble subject is truly remorseful and does not dare to be delusional. This humble subject swears here that he will never marry. Please rest assured, Your Majesty." "It doesn't matter. I'll marry you in the future," Shishang said and left the hall. Everyone. "Her Highness the eldest princess is mighty." The atmosphere in the hall was extremely strange. In the end, the emperor was so angry that he flung his sleeves and left. With the emperor gone, there was no reason for the banquet to continue. Everyone left with their own thoughts. Lian Chen slowly stood up from the ground with his hands tucked under his sleeves. The hall gradually quieted down until he was the only one left. Lien Chen walked out of the palace on foot. Zhao Yu was waiting outside the palace. Seeing him come out, she immediately welcomed him. I heard that you rejected the marriage? Lien Chen walked forward in silence. Didn't we agree before? Why did you suddenly change your mind? Zhao Yu continued to gossip. Is it because you can't bear to make that person angry? It's fine if you refuse. Who knows what kind of person His Majesty will give you? Zhao Yu. What's wrong? Zhao Yu quickened her pace. Seeing Lien Chen's expression, she suddenly frowned. Ah Chen, don't tell me you've really fallen for the eldest princess? Probably. Lien Chen sighed. Go and contact the spy my father left behind. Zhao Yu was shocked. Ah Chen, have you thought about it? Lien Chen looked at the dark street and said faintly, there are only two paths. I just made a choice in advance. Fine. His Majesty is already suspicious. With the eldest princess's matter, he probably can't wait to kill you right now. But, if you really do that, are you sure the eldest princess will still stand by your side? That was her father. She will. Ah Chen, she doesn't have much time left, Zhao Yu reminded Lien Chen. That's why I have to get rid of the danger around me in the shortest time possible, so that she could stay by his side safely and avoid being disturbed. Zhao Yu shook his head with a look of disdain. Feelings are harmful. Lien Chen's lips twitched into a smile. Gathering his gorgeous robes, he slowly disappeared into the night. Side mission: stop Lien Chen from rebelling. Shi Shang tilted his head. Lien Chen was going to rebel? If a villain doesn't rebel, can they still be called a villain? Shi Shang said calmly. That makes sense. The system was speechless. Bah! Host, Lien Chen can't rebel. You'd better stop him. Otherwise, all your points will be deducted. What? Say that again if you have the guts. Otherwise, all your points will be deducted. The system fearlessly repeated itself. Its master would be back soon. It wasn't afraid. It even wanted to go offline to avoid it. F*CKU. Shi Shang cursed a few times but didn't get any response. He knew that the idiot system had blocked him. This idiot system was getting more and more playful. I'll deal with you when I get back. Don't let Lien Chen rebel. I can rebel, right? The system didn't know that when it went offline, its master had opened up a shortcut. For Shi Shang, rebelling was a common thing. It couldn't be simpler. Any problem that could be solved by violence was not a problem. Come on. Make trouble. Shi Shang visited all the courtiers in the capital. As for how he visited them, only the courtiers who had experienced it knew. Therefore, when Shi Shang formed the rebellion team, the emperor was dumbfounded. How come his courtiers were no longer his courtiers in one night? He might have met a fake courtier. In the throne room, Shi Shang led a group of people to confront the emperor. Chongning, what are you doing? The emperor tried to calm down, but how could he calm down? The one standing in front of him was his favorite daughter. I'm forcing you to abdicate, Shi Shang said calmly. Can't you see? The emperor. Of course, he knew that they were forcing him to abdicate. But when did you form the rebellion team? He didn't see his daughter forming a clique. How could these courtiers betray him in one night? And the prime minister's men? He was still dreaming, wasn't he? The emperor secretly pinched his thigh. It hurt. It wasn't a dream. His favorite princess really rebelled. There should be a group name here. The emperor. I might have come to a fake world and met a group of fake courtiers. Courtier 1, Your Majesty, I was forced to do this. Courtier 2, Your Majesty, I was forced to do this too. The emperor. Go away. You're not my courtiers anymore. Courtier 3, I'm not. I'm the prime minister's man. The emperor. Move by, you're finally here. I haven't even appeared yet. When will I appear? Please appear. System. Shut up. You'll be committing suicide if you appear. Mubai, where's Ai's knife? Chapter 939. Chongning, what have I done to you? The emperor asked in a deep voice. He had always doted on her and gave her all the good things. Even his princes didn't have anything, but she still repaid him like this. His heart ached when he thought about it. Why did it turn out like this? No. Don't worry, father. I'm just borrowing your throne. I'll return it to you after a while. Shi Shang looked calm. So, father, are you going to lend it to me yourself, or do you want me to force you to abdicate? The emperor. Can the throne be borrowed? Do you think it's a chair? You want to lend it to me and return it to me? Everyone. The Princess Royal's words were so poetic. Princess Royal, you're disobeying your superiors. A few ministers who weren't threatened by Shi Shang stood up and criticized Shi Shang. These people weren't threatened mainly because their positions were useless when it came to extorting confessions. Shi Shang's expression didn't change. Oh. The ministers. What do you mean, oh? Why are you still so calm? How can he continue? Father, it's meaningless to waste time. Shi Shang looked at the emperor. Hurry up and make a decision. Then we can go back and have dinner. His tone was as relaxed as if he was saying that the weather was good today and they could go out for a walk. Everyone was speechless. Who could still eat after such a big thing happened? The emperor was so angry that the veins on his forehead bulged. He glared with red eyes and questioned the ministers standing behind Shi Shang. Are you going to rebel with her? The ministers lowered their heads. They really didn't want to rebel, Your Majesty. Good, very good. The emperor said, good several times. He didn't expect that his own daughter would rebel before that person even started. This was what they meant by, it's hard to guard against thieves. The emperor looked at the people standing behind Shi Shang. All the people with military power in the capital were standing behind her. Distant water couldn't put out a nearby fire. What else could he say? Shi Shang's speed of forcing the emperor to abdicate was simply the fastest way to succeed in a rebellion. Shi Shang gathered real power as fast as he could. Force wasn't a long-term solution, so Shi Shang didn't plan to occupy the throne for long. But as long as she was here, these people wouldn't dare to cause any trouble. Host, what did you do? The system came online late. As soon as it went online, it faced such a terrifying situation. Nothing. He had been with her for so long, yet he was still making a fuss over such a small matter. I can feel a strong sense of disdain from the host. Host, you actually rebelled. The system was obviously excited, and its electronic voice even carried an echo. You only said that you can't let Lien Chen rebel, but you didn't say that I can't rebel. There's nothing wrong with that. F***CK. I forgot that the host likes to take advantage of loopholes to take shortcuts. Host, do you really have no feelings at all? His Majesty is still your father, right? She would be doomed if she had feelings for that group of people. They are just a group of virtual characters. You want me to develop feelings for a group of virtual characters? Are you crazy? Did they develop feelings for each other from playing a game? Feng Ci alone was enough to give her a headache. Now that there were a few more, how was she going to survive? Then isn't Feng Ci also a virtual character? The system was unconvinced. You know best whether he is or not. I'm so angry. What should I do if I want to activate the erasure program? Don't doubt it, it really did have the erasure program, but the host never gave it permission. What do you plan to do now? The host never liked to manage the world, but now that there was a rebellion, she couldn't just wash her hands of it, right? I'm going to marry Lien Chen, Shi Shang replied matter-of-factly. So what's the ultimate goal of your rebellion? #my host is addicted to men and can't extricate herself #. When Lien Chen heard the news, the dust had already settled. He hadn't started planning yet, but the rebellion was already over. Lien Chen didn't know whether to laugh or cry. AI, this Princess Royal is so domineering. Zhao Yu shook her head on the side. She got so many people to rebel in one night, and a few of them are even yours. Zhao Yu tilted her head to look at Lien Chen. Ah Chen, if it wasn't for her, the two of you would really be a perfect match. Lien Chen stared at the folding fan in his hand and gently turned it. The colorful light reflected into his eyes. Is there really no cure for the poison in her body? The poison is carried in the mother's body. After so many years, it has already seeped into her organs. There's no cure. How long do you have? At most a year, at least a few months. Lien Chen always thought that he was the one who left first, so he didn't dare to get too close to her. He was afraid of bringing danger to her. He shouldn't believe someone so easily. But he believed every word she said. Without any reason. It was a very strange feeling. It was like it was destined in his previous life. Help her stabilize the situation in the capital. You can handle the other places. I don't want to see anyone return to the capital. Lien Chen ordered Zhao Yu. Ah! Zhao Yu screamed. Isn't Yi Feng doing all this? Why do you want me to go? Yi Feng can't deal with those people outside. Outside the capital, there were many people with different intentions. Only Zhao Yu could deal with those people. She hasn't said anything yet, but you're already helping her. Don't let others use you in the end. Zhao Yu curled her lips. Her abdication is going too smoothly. Zhao Yu's suspicions weren't without reason. Shishang's abdication was too fast. Everyone seemed to have planned it in advance. It would be strange if there wasn't a ghost. If it was so easy to rebel, wouldn't those people who failed in previous rebellions jump up and cry injustice? Lien Chen glanced at Zhao Yu. Zhao Yu immediately walked out. Feelings are harmful. A good person was turned into this. It was too scary. Knock knock. Just as Zhao Yu left, a servant knocked on the door. Come in. The servant respectfully walked in front of Lien Chen. Young master, Her Highness sent someone to bring you into the palace. The palace had just changed owners, so the atmosphere was a bit stifling. Lien Chen entered without any obstructions. Shishang was still living in Jingning Palace Hall, where she used to live. There weren't many people in the palace, so it seemed a bit lonely. The young girl sat on the soft couch without a care for her image. Beside her was a pile of memorials that she had flipped through. Some of them had already fallen to the ground. Your humble servant greets your highness. Shishang threw away the memorials in his hands and raised his head to look at Lien Chen. Lien Chen lowered his head slightly, covering his face. His gorgeous clothes were still dazzling. She jumped down from the soft couch and looked at him with a half-smile. Prime Minister Lien. Your Highness. It seems that you'll have to marry into the palace. Lien Chen, why was their opening conversation so strange? Don't worry, I'll definitely marry you in a grand sedan chair. Shishang said this with gritted teeth. Who told this idiot to be a demon? Your Highness, you don't have the intention to sit firmly in this position. There's no need to threaten me like this. An ambitious person wouldn't throw away memorials so casually. You're tuning in to the Narrate and Escape YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.